Yeah. I mean,
Look,
to be fair, mine.
We're here.
Hey.
As you're bad-mouthing people, you're like, you know that person I really hate. Hey, we're live.
Hey, we're live. No, I was just saying, I have no problem. My microphone, I keep it right here in the shot because it gives the best audio, right?
Yeah. And I have the headset mic.
We're here.
We're here.
Whoa. Hey.
Whoa. Hey. Whoa. There we go. Feedback. I have this for the podcast, and because I have a very noisy environment, it is a sports mic.
Right. We've talked about that before.
We've talked about this.
How the hell are you, Stephen?
I am pretty good. It's finally getting warm. Baseball season starts tomorrow.
Yeah, everyone in Cleveland's very excited because I think Jimenez just signed a contract or something. I don't know what it was.
The cheapest. I think you're the second cheapest payroll in baseball.
Moneyball, baby. It's all young team.
No, it's just money. It's just money.
Yeah, it's just money.
Your owner is worth $2 billion, and yet they have the second lowest payroll in baseball.
It's called being fiscally responsible.
No, it's called... They see it as a cash grab and do not wish to. Anyhow,
speaking of cash grabs,
speaking of cash grabs, did you see that D&D Direct yesterday? It was nothing but a cash grab. Dun. Hey, everyone, let's see, who do we got here? We got a lot of people. So, people, did you people think that the image that I created the day D&D died was overly dramatic? I
said it was overly dramatic.
I don't think it is. I think it's 100% accurate, to be honest.
Look, I respect the hustle. It gets the people going. But I mean, here's the thing. There is a kernel of truth, because I don't know if D&D died yesterday, but I did.
Right, so maybe it could have been another D&D. The day D&D and Derik died.
Right. Dungeons and Dragons and Derik.
D&D and D.
My initials are DM.
You know what my initials are? SMG. Submachine gun.
Yeah, see, my initials are damn, so that's also kind of funny as well. See, look, I got Waters Lathy in the chat here saying that you're the clickbait master. So there is that.
Man. You know what? But okay. Let's talk. We won't get into we're gonna let the little people come in. Little people. Hi, little people. No, let the people come in.
You always let the people percolate.
We'll percolate a little bit. I'm gonna get into it pretty quick. By the way, Mark can't be joining us because he's busy working on our April Fool's product. I'm just going to say it's coming out, okay? Yeah. Because last year, we had an April Fool's product, which rocked the internet of playing a dungeon. That thing was downloaded thousands of times. It was crazy.
It really changed my perception of Mark. I'll say that. Well, both for the commitment to the bit, but also the quality of this throwaway gag being like this completely legitimate game product. It was actually just very impressive.
Wait till you see the new one. Because that one we did in less than 24 hours. This one we've had, ironically, I came up with the idea 9 months ago, and he only started writing it this week. So once again, we at least we got a week to write it, but it is going to be it'll be quite interesting. I think people are going to love it. It has not been done before. And if you thought ours, what did you call us? The serious troll? Is that what you call it?
Serious troll. Yeah.
Oh, this is like the super serious troll. This goes to another level.
That is, I mean, that's like a great example. Like Night's Last Call, by the way. My name is Derik from Night's Last Call, if you know that.
Yeah.
We have a YouTube channel. Don't go watch it. You won't like it.
Don't go watch it unless you like this. In that case,
yeah.
Still don't watch it.
If you like me, maybe you should watch it. But anyways, like, I hate leshies and I hate stuff that's cute and whatever stupid for no reason. So naturally, of course, my audience loves to tip me a lot of money to basically kind of bribe me to go run an adventure strictly around leshies and poppets. But here's the thing: I don't phone that in. I spend more time.
You're a serious troll too.
Prepping those streams than I do for my actual streams. And yes, that's because we at Night's Last Call are also serious trolls. Yes.
It's you're gonna love it. You guys are gonna love it. And I think we're going to get it come out for both Pathfinder and 5e at the same time this time. So, and Mark's writing both of those. How about that?
Man of many talents.
Up, bueno kitty. Steven nailed it. Obviously, Scooby-Doo villain melodramatic, but yeah, it's dead. And they would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for them pesky D&D be gone. Okay, let's move on to other RPGs already. LOL.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Dead is sort of a weird term. D&D will continue on. In fact, I think D&D is going to continue. Yeah. It's going to do fantastic. It's going to continue to grow. The brand is going to continue to grow. New people are going to come into D&D. But what we define, or what we know of the D&D experience, that is gone.
Yes,
or at least that's being.
That's what I was talking about. The D&D as we know it, and I said that in the description. I said that it's the D&D virtual tabletop was previewed. It's the beginning of the end of D&D as we know it. That's what I wrote.
I mean, I know you wanted to do your intro.
I'll do my, give me a minute. Let percolate a little bit more. Percolate a little more. Hey, from Mexico. Hey, Jessica, she was on our show a couple weeks ago. I loved having Jess on. Jess, I should have reached out to you and had you on the show.
Yeah, Jess and Mark together were great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Jess, I'm definitely going to have you on a lot more shows. I've just been really busy. Steven, are you going to give us a chance to buy the monster books in piecemeal fashion? Do you mean the Year of Monsters, Raphael? Colo? I'm terrible at names. So I figured out a way to maybe do this, Raphael. Okay, I won't get into the particulars. It's actually very hard to actually make it that you can buy individual ones, but I was thinking that we can do 3 at a time, and you might get, ones it's just, I might be able to do like January, February, March, April, May, June. So I think I can do blocks of 3, because right now you have to buy a full year. I can't get into it. It's very hard to do 1 year at a time. 1 month at a time. It's just too many parameters. But I think 3 months at a time, I think I'll be able to do that. So that's something I'm looking into right now, because we're talking about the April Fool's Dungeon Ancestry, which you can get now with battlezoo.com for free. That turned into the Year of Monsters, where we're taking monsters and making them playable ancestries, which has then turned into one of our most successful products. And so this throwaway joke has turned into a very serious product. So, and it all came from Ginny D, because Ginny D had a throwaway line where she said, when she was promoting dragons, she's like sitting there with her DM saying, "Oh, I want to play a dragon here. Let me show it to you." And then she convinces her GM to let her play the dragon. And then she cuts to another person saying, "Okay, I'm going to show you how." And it's like, "Okay, I'd like to play." I'm blowing it. It's like, "Okay, I'd like to talk to you about playing a dungeon." And then I said, "I can do that. I have the wherewithal to make you play a dungeon." And I spoke to Mark and I gave him some ideas, because he doesn't read lit RPG, but I do. And he figured it out. What? Why are you shaking your head? People love the Dungeon Ancestry. And what comes out this month? Dungeons Expanded. It's 27 pages long. It's a 27-page Ancestry.
God bless you. I'll say that.
Who else could do that? You should see the artwork. We have lovely artworks of dungeons.
Look, you make my serious trolling look like a small flickering flame about to die on a windy night. Yours is a raging bonfire, an effigy unto which is Burning Man levels, a beacon that from across the far distant lands.
Wait to see the new one.
Right, because again, here's what I love. Here's what I love about that. It's like I've said this before, I think. It's like the old Stephen Colbert, the Colbert Report.
Oh, I love Colbert. Yeah, we talked about this. Stephen versus Stephen and all
right,
those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Stephen versus Stephen. And because here's the best part. Like, there are people who go, this is obviously kind of a joke and a gag. It came on April Fool's Day, and I appreciate the humor in it. It's kind of fun for a lark, and I like that. But then you also had people who are like, you're right. The role-playing opportunities here would be endless. I can't wait. This is exactly what I've been looking for, to sort of build out the character that I wanted to make. And it's like, Wow. Somehow you got both of those audiences in one publication.
Well, wait till you see the next one. We're going to hit a new one that you haven't even thought of. Although it's getting harder and harder, because I will tell some people thought you can play the ampersand because we have a dragon in the dungeon. No, it's not going to be the ampersand. It's not going to be the ampersand.
I'm disappointed, because that would have been amazing.
No, I can still. That's actually, you know what? Too easy. Too easy.
The preposition ancestry, and but for...
we could do that. Always be escalating. ABE. That's my motto. You got to go bigger or go home. So we got to go bigger. This one's bigger. You'll see. You'll see.
All right. We ready to talk about this?
All right. So, by the way, do like, subscribe. If you super chat, we'll answer right away. Like Boothby wrote. God, he got right in there. Boom. He's like, let's start.
That's because Boothby is a Knights of Last Call hero tier patron.
Yes. So am I think. If the D&D 5e, sorry, the D&D 6e, BTT were a third-party independent product, would you be excited for it? It would still be the death of D&D.
It's a great question.
That is a great question. I actually would be excited for it.
Yep.
Quite a bit. But the problem is it's not a third-party product, and it is a gatekeeping product that is designed not to have you play D&D, but to trap you into an ecosystem that you will never leave.
It's also a case where it's not a situation of or. It's not something that is parallel or in addition to the core D&D experience. This is going to replace the core D&D experience.
Yeah, this is D&D. This is what like okay. I didn't do my intro my big intro yet, but let's just talk a little bit about the so if people didn't watch the D&D Direct.
Sure. Yeah. Let's talk about
There was a D&D Direct yesterday, and they went through, I threw out my notes. Oh, no, I have them here. They went through a whole bunch of topics. I'll give you the quick rundown. And so in a D&D Direct, okay, where they're talking about, this thing called Dungeons and Dragons, role-playing game.
Right. This is their big opportunity to communicate to the community about what to expect from their role-playing game.
Right. The role-playing game. They talked about, first they led off with Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons in Minecraft, which I have to say did look pretty cool, and I'll probably play it because it's like a fun 10-hour experience. I'm like,
I don't hate certain brand integrations. Like, you know me, I hate stuffed animals. I'm okay with there being Mimic plushies and owlbear plushies. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. That actually wasn't terrible. Then they had the movie, which everyone's seen to death, by the way. I saw the movie, loved it, 8.5 out of 10. Derik, you're going to go see it, and you're going to love it, I promise you.
So the plan, tentatively, the plan is myself, Bob, and Aaron from the Knights are going to go see it on Friday. Then we're going to go straight from the theater to our studio, and then go live and do like our live. We just saw the movie reaction with probably copious amounts of whiskey, but that is the plan.
Yeah, it was good. Then they had a big exclusive about their toys. And these were heavy premium toys. These were not cheap toys. They had in there also a video. I'm missing like one or two things, but you
might have also missed the most absolutely cringy song.
The song video. Yeah. I actually didn't mind it. I was moving along.
No.
Anyhow, then we're talking about
play our game. It's not hard. Don't know the rule? Make it up. Join the VTT. Buy some stuff. It'll do everything for you anyways. Right. It's like that's what the song was.
It was good. It was a good song. Then we had R.A. Salvatore talking about Dritz. Hey man, I love Bob. I'm a big fan. I've read all of his books. I have no problem with him.
I have 10 novels.
I have no problem with that.
Well, I have hundreds of novels, but I have of my Dritz novels, 10 of them have been signed at various times. So 10 different times I have met.
Bob is awesome.
I have met Bob Salvatore.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy.
I've met his son.
His son. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote Spearwielders trilogy with him. They did an RPG together, based off of the Demon Dactyl series.
Oh, that is a great series. I love that series.
Yeah, so I love Bob Salvatore. It was nice to hear his thing. It was
it went a little long, and people were getting bored.
It went a little long. It was kind of trying to sympathy porn. It was like trying to be like, look how amazing and special D&D is. It touches the lives and hearts.
Yeah, and how I started this out 35 years ago, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, here we get it. But they're always like that. Then we had the VTT, which we won't go into because that's what this entire stream is going to be about. And then, let's see, I have many notes on that. Then they had Joe Magliola, I can never pronounce his last name.
Joe married to Sofia Vergara.
Who was from Pittsburgh and went to Carnegie Mellon, where I'm going to be this weekend, and leaked that he's working on the Dragonlance series, by the way, and doing that, which kind of went over everyone's head.
Well, it's because when's the last time that Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman released a Dragonlance novel that anybody cared about? The answer is,
they released one a little while ago, but no one seemed to care.
that people cared about.
Right.
I don't. Their marketing strategy seems to be the fire hose. Yeah. Right. They're like, look at all this. Look at the cute chibi kawaii stuff that we're going to do to get the Minecraft so that we can get the tweens and the young adults. But also, remember Dragonlance?
Dragonlance is a big deal, though. I never got into. I got into it a little too late. Like I got the books and I read them. I never played them, but I never got into it like some people did. I know people seem to love it, but
right.
Then they did talk about building the multiverse.
Right.
They were very much into building a multiverse with Bigby and Fandelver.
Yeah,
and
it's
R.I.P. Right. It was all IP.
R.I.P.
That's all it was. It was an IP showcase. It
was an IP showcase. Yeah. And they basically, their whole shtick there was playing D&D is equivalent to playing our conception and our idea of D&D. That whole messaging there was horrible. It really had this idea of if you don't go on the adventure to stop Vecna, which, by the way, everything had a tie-in, by the way, to other brand IPs. It was like, by the way, you'll see that in the D&D movie. Oh, which, by the way, did you see Vecna and the Stranger Things? It's all just, it's just this, and it's this idea of and if you don't get that adventure and you don't run it for your party, you guys are kind of really missing out. You're not going to be part of the in-crowd of the D&D experience. And it's like,
hey man, you got to be part of the multiverse. If you're not part of, I'm surprised they didn't even just call it Phase 1.
Right, it felt like the MCU.
It did.
I was in chat. I didn't get a chance to say it because I was busy. But I was going to say, what is this, like the D&D CU? It felt like the Dungeons and Dragons cinematic universe. It really does feel like that. And they're going to have these crossovers. And at the end of the adventure, there's going to be like a after the credits spoiler for the next revelation. And it's just going to be this spoon-fed garbage experience that they are just going to force feed down people's throats, and people are just going to just pay for it. And it drives me insane.
What, you don't want to play and defeat Venger? I can't wait till the DM shows up in my adventure.
That is the most come on.
And Uni the Unicorn.
So, celebrating almost 40 years since the D&D Adventure cartoon show. It ran for one season.
2.
Did it go for 2?
Yeah,
okay,
2.
fine. 1.5. It was a short second season at best. And it was a cringe thing because Gary Gygax thought he was hot shit. He went out to Hollywood because he thought he was going to make D&D this big thing. Read a John Peterson book and you'll realize that the whole thing was a money shill. And now it's a money shill again.
Yeah, but they're doing it well this time. They had Venger, they had the League of Malevolence, they had the Red Wizards. All right.
And then, of course, Planescape.
Well, they did have the deck of many things. Now, I love the deck of many things. But did you hear you left before we got into it, is that with the microtransactions, it's only going to be the deck of some things. Because they are adding new cards to the deck of many things. But if you want the deck of most things, that's going to be an extra $4.99. But if you want the deck of many things, that's $19.99. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. They're gonna freak it. They might actually do that. They might.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the bar. I don't know how low. You know what I mean? There's you could just.
And the funny thing is, Paizo did the deck of many things adventure called the Harrowing, which, by the way, is one of the best adventures ever written for Pathfinder. And that's like 10 years ago. And here's something really weird. At the exact same time the Deck of Many Things is coming out, they are re-releasing their Harrow deck for Paizo. And they're like redoing it all. It's like, that's just weird coincidence because they've been working on that. In fact, the guy who made the Harrow deck is the same designer, artist who's doing all my Eldamon and all of my dragons. It's the same artist. So London Disrop.
Yeah, that's drop.
Disrop, $5. Lot Pathfinder and Starfinder beginning boxes based on your recommendation.
I'm assuming.
Bought probably. Looking forward to Eldamon playtest. VTT seems too difficult to use for DMs. All right, cool. Well, yeah, we actually, by the way, if you don't know, we have the Eldamon, Battles of Eldamon. This is not the card for the Eldamon. We started the playtest of the new class written by Mark Seifter, the Elemental Avatar. Derik, you should see this thing. I think, actually, I would definitely like your feedback. We have a private playtest going crazy right now. This class, just the playtest class, it was 17 pages, and that's just fire and ice. And there's going to be 13 elements. This thing's going to be like a 50-page class, but it's mostly all the elements. But it is really cool. It's really cool, I'll tell you that much. Anyhow,
I will happily take a look.
Okay, yeah, I'll send it to you. We have, so if you, where would you see? Oh, if you go to our Twitter, I have a link, and if you want, you can try to sign up. I'm letting almost everyone in, not everyone. Most people are let in. You have to sign an NDA, and then you have to confirm a few things, and then you're invited into the private playtest, and then you can try it out. And we have it very organized. We did this for the Dragon playtest. It worked extremely well. Doing the same thing. We're going to be doing it for Pathfinder and 5e. We do the Pathfinder first, and then we're doing the Eldamon Trainer, too. And then they will come out probably later this summer. Because most of the art is done. Now we're literally just need Mark to write it, and he's got nothing left to do. And
which is why he's not here today.
That's right. And then we got Planescape. That I did not expect.
No, listen, after the failure of Spelljammer, and again, it's a weird nostalgia callback. I don't know anybody who knows anything about Planescape that wasn't playing D&D in the 90s, right? Because Planescape's not even it's not a 3rd edition setting. It wasn't a 1st edition setting. It was just a 2nd edition AD&D setting. Well, there's
Torment, too, which is one of the most famous
Torment,
RPGs of all time.
You got me. I did forget about Torment. but again, and it's just one of those things, too, where it's just, like, my heart is, like, hurt because, like, it's like Planescape is a very complex and nuanced and mature adventure. Now, it's not Dark Sun, right?
Yeah, by the way, yesterday I got confused. I got my Dark Sun and my Planescape confused yesterday. Okay. That's why I was talking about it being such a harsh setting. And I'm like, actually, Planescape is not as bad as Dark Sun.
But the thing about Planescape is, fundamentally, Planescape is a campaign setting about the idea of ideas, of philosophies.
Yeah.
That thoughts can shape reality, and that you have these factions of people who are literally battling for sort of control of the multiverse. And there's this idea of, like, if you want good to prosper, are you willing to do things that are evil in order to let good succeed? Like, it really deals with certain shades of nuance. In fact, if anything, I would say this is my biggest thing. There is no campaign setting in which alignment is more hard-coded into the game than Planescape.
And they're removing alignment.
And they're removing alignment. And they're saying, sometimes neutral evil. Like, in Planescape, like, if there's enough evil people in a section of the city, like, the gate towns will literally change location, and parts of hell or Gehenna will start to, like, override the Outlands and creep in towards Sigil. So it's like, so my guess is they just take all that away. They just got rid of all that, right? Like, all of the meat and the meaning, and they just left us with Lady of Pain. It's in a donut.
Donut Lady of Pain. Oh boy, by the way, we have almost 450 viewers. If you like and get us up to, let's say, 200 likes, we're going to make Derik do something.
200 likes?
200. It's a little less than half of the number of people we have here. Come on, man. Derik, you got some pretty good singing. I forgot what we got last time. You did a new voice, and I like that new voice.
I don't remember. You always ask me to do something stupid,
and you always do it.
I always do it. I'm a shill, but
you are a shill. Oh, we got another stable Phoenix for $10. After stable
glasses.
Okay, then you read them. I have my glasses. They're right here. Okay, you read them. My monitor. I have 3 monitors. This monitor is very far away.
Stable Phoenix for $10 said, after the laughable books that WoTC produced for Spelljammer and Dragonlance, I don't want to see them touch Planescape with 12 10-foot poles. It is my favorite D&D setting of all time. I can't say that it's my favorite, but I will say I was very enamored with it. And even at I was young when it came out. I was like in my teens. But I understood that there was something cool happening there. And that box set, I think it's right there, but like I still treasure that. The art by Tony DiTerrelli was incredible. Apparently he's coming back. He posted on his Twitter account a landscape of what probably might be a GM screen for the Planescape. And it's his art style, but obviously it's 20 years later, right?
It's very updated. It's updated. It's slicker. It looks more digital. It's fine.
It looks, it's different. It's not quite the same as his original art style. But I loved his artwork. And I mean, this just goes back to that time and place when an RPG product was more than just what are the stats for the monsters and what archetypes and feats right? It was about an experience. It was about the art and the ideas and the box set and like the cool books that came in it, and like Planescape had a mood. It just had such an edgy vibe to it. For me, it's like the edgiest D&D setting.
Bad Joke Gaming said, did Steven figure out Planescape and Dark Side?
Yes, he did.
I got confused. You know why? Because they're very similar in my head. They have a very similar vibe and feel. I know they're not the same, but I was thinking of Dark Sun by accident.
You know what? I will say this. They are both, I would say, on the more mature side of the D&D campaigns.
Sorry about that, guys.
Like the sort of heroic fantasy, we're knights, we're going to go charge evil, smash it with our swords. Like that is very much more of a Dragonlance, Mystara, Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms especially. But yeah, Dark Sun and Planescape, to my opinion, were more, I don't want to say that they were like 18 plus. They weren't like rated R, but like they were like rated PG-13.
No, we're getting up there. William Brandis, $5. Let's have him sing the D&D song for real. Look up those lyrics.
Oh my God!
We're up to 144 likes. We're almost up to 200.
There's no way that there are lyrics for this already. Oh God,
yes, there are. I guarantee. Hey, chatters. Hey, 471 people here. Find the lyrics for the D&D song yesterday, so Derik has to sing it. Anyhow, hey man, look. My favorite was Spelljammer, but I'm going to tell you a few things. A, I did not buy it because I heard how bad it was. B, I'm not that upset because Baldur's Gate 3 is a lot of Spelljammer elements in it, I think. I'm fine. I'm like, who cares? I'm like, D&D, like, Wizards screwed it up. Yeah, that sucks, but we still got Baldur's Gate 3, and I think it's going to be probably great. I love all their games.
Baldur's Gate 3 is a video game.
I know.
Video games suck.
Well, I hate to break it to you that welcome to the future of Dungeons and Dragons. All right, so this is what I did. Here's my spiel. Let me go, and then you can go while everyone starts liking and start looking for the lyrics. All right. So every single thing they showed yesterday, I'll just pat myself on the back here since Derik's not here to do it. It was 100% accurate. They pretty much showed every single thing I said they were going to show. No surprise. A few surprises that they said they're going to have a beta test ready and that they're actually internally testing it this year. And it's a lot further along. I knew it was pretty far along, but I didn't know it was this far along. But the thing is that it kind of, the thing that really put a dagger in my heart is when they were all sitting around a game table with dice and they put down computers and they're all playing with their computers and they're all looking at their computers, and then with dice, with 20-sided dice right in front of them, they're like, how do you roll the dice? And then they show the way to click it. I'm like, can't you just freaking pick up the goddamn dice and roll? No, you can't. I'll tell you what, because It does.
That whole set was outrageous. Like I would have actually been, again, I'm one of those people, I don't watch embarrassing content. I get like that secondhand embarrassment. I get really like if someone is being embarrassed publicly, like the cringe videos, like I can't watch it. It like actually makes me hurt. I'm too empathetic. I know this is hard to believe. I'm too empathetic. I care too much about people. I don't like to see people get hurt. I don't like to see people get embarrassed or whatever. Watching that video was painful for me. I was embarrassed for those people. I was embarrassed for that company. I was embarrassed for all of us that had to watch that. It was so bad. But here's the thing. There were ways that it could have been better. One of them was it could have just been them sitting around a table, or just like Zoom calling and being on like that would have been fine. Or just we're all sitting around the table. We have all our laptops out. But to put the battle map down and to put the dice and the pencils down, and at no point was there ever any implication that they were going to touch them at all?
No. So I did something yesterday, is that I did a few things. First of all, I found every article I could find and read all the additional content on D&D Beyond yesterday, which I'm sure a lot of people probably did not do, because who wants to put themselves through that? So they had about the filming of that VTT, and they said they literally brought them in and then they played the game for an hour and filmed their reactions. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what they said they did. And that was them playing for an hour. In addition, I also read on the official D&D Beyond streams and boards all the comments. And that is going to be the exact opposite of what we're talking about. There was a lot of people.
Oh my God, this looks amazing.
They loved it. They couldn't wait. They can't wait. Can't wait to play in that.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, none of this, none of this is surprising to me at all.
That will kill your heart, Derik. You read those comments, you'll be like,
I don't need to read them to know what they said.
Yes,
excited. I already feel it into the very, core marrow of my being. What those comments say, because it's like. It's a video game, and it's going to be monetized like a video game, and I get it. Like, and this is not like a old man yells at clouds, right? This is what everybody always does to diminish positions like mine. They say, "Oh, old man yelling at clouds." No, I am totally okay with the fact that things move forward. That's fine, but this to me is not about making D&D better game. That's the key.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I liked 4th edition, and a lot of people did not like 4th edition. And one of the reasons people didn't like 4th edition is because they said, this isn't my D&D. And that's fair. It wasn't. It was a radical departure. But it was them saying, we think this is making the game better. Mm-hmm. We are taking your feedback. We're taking the way that people are playing the game, and we want to make it a better game. Now, there might be elements of this new nonsense that work for people. One of the things I think that this very much speaks to is that for a lot of people today, they play virtual anyways. They're playing on Foundry. Yeah. They're playing on, Roll20. So you're already there. You're already in the digital space. DMs in many cases have already had to become pseudo programmers and graphic designers and artists, because now I can't run a D&D session unless I have a perfectly customized battle mat with triggered sound effects that when they open the door that everybody hears in their headphones. God forbid I just make that noise, or say, I don't know, the door opens and it makes a noise. Use your imagination, you lazy fucks. But it's like,
damn.
But the point is that all these things that they're adding aren't about that. It's about monetization. It's about hooking people in, and it's just about replacing the core D&D experience that is essential to the role-playing game. And
well, you have to buy them celestial diamonds. If you want to, you have the celestial diamonds. You'll have your D&D gold. You'll have your D&D platinum. You'll have all these. Anyhow, let's get to some super chats. Then we'll get to that. I didn't even get to my point.
All right, So Ken, Ken $5 said, I saw this too, and all I could think of is this is just Tailspire. It did look very much like Tailspire, by the way. I agree with you, but it is very, 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 very early alpha, so I'll give them some distinction. But yeah, I mean, it's a very fancy.
It looks very good.
Yeah, it looked good. It's 2023, Steven. Everything fucking looks good.
I know. That's the thing. It's a very well. That's what I was saying, is that I read all the articles, and a lot of the articles, the news articles, said it looked like a video game. And I'm like, yeah. And that's what I've been saying. It's going to be a video game with a D&D branding on it. That's what it's going to be.
So William Brandis tipped $5 and said, "You guys remember this?" And I didn't even have to know what this link was going to go to before I went to it. And of course, it is the 4th edition D&D teaser trailer, which they dropped at Gen Con 2007. 2007? Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Because it came out in 2008.
I was there.
Right. Yeah. We were in the audience. Everyone was like, "Oh, what are they?" Everyone expected they were going to do like some sort of virtual thing. That was like the big thing. They didn't expect it was going to be a brand new edition. Of course, this is a famous trailer where there is a French accented man or French Canadian accented man who basically is talking about how old versions of D&D sucked. And they were just full of problems, and 3rd edition sucked, and 2nd edition sucked. But here comes 4th edition. It's going to solve all your problems and be slick and awesome. But the game will remain the same. The game will remain the same. And that's how it ends, very famously. And of course, it wasn't, and it didn't. And the VTT also never launched. And then
technology was way different back then.
Yeah.
Yes,
I do remember that.
I remember the VTT. I saw it in a couple of different formats, by the way.
Ryan Brown says, Indestructible Boy, who, by the way, I like. I like his style.
Yeah.
And Indestructible Boy and his audience figured out that the laptops that they were using in the demo go for about $6,000.
I didn't go that far. I mean,
that's a deep cut.
Yeah. Well, of course they are. I mean, and someone actually asked, a lot of people did, will it be able to run? Well, it is on Unreal Engine 5, which will be able to downgrade to, I don't think it can work on potatoes, but it will work on decent computers. And I think, but more importantly, they did mention, I have my notes here, it will work on a phone, a game console, or a computer.
Yeah,
has to work on all 3.
Don't you guys have phones?
Don't you have phones? Of course, we're being laughed at because, by the way, they make a fortune on Diablo Immortal, even though it sucks. But someone's paying a lot of money for that freaking game.
But that is the sort of beat down Stockholm syndrome corporate buying mentality that we have today as consumers. Yeah. We see a company release something. We very accurately portray this to say, this is a blatant cash grab. And then they throw plushies and fucking OC art at us and we go, but I gotta buy it. And we do. And they go, we're just going to keep doing this. You can't help yourselves. We have spent the last 20 or 30 years molding every aspect of your personality. We own your childhood. We own your hobbies and interests. And now, if you want to enjoy them, you're going to have to go through us.
Yeah.
Pay the troll the troll toe.
That's really what that's the crux of my position is that, like, look, everything they're doing is fine. I am not against even the way they presented it and what they're doing. It's just the methodology and how they're trying to force everyone to play the game this way and using their tools and turning it into a completely gated community. And which really just goes back to the OGL, which is why they're trying to kill everyone off. It's like they tried to kill everyone off to force you to go into their community.
Right, because the community is already going to have high walls, right? Yeah. And a very expensive gate.
Yeah.
But what they were trying to do was irradiate and turn everything else into a wasteland, so that the only oasis that you could go to in this wasteland of TTRPGs was the mecca that is D&D 1. You know?
Don't forget, when OGL 1.2 came out, and it has happened so fast, people are already forgetting. That had a whole thing in there. First there was that morality clause, but the bigger thing was they had all those rules about VTTs and how they couldn't basically exist.
Right.
And people forget about that. I'm like, yeah, because that's what they care about. Because that is what D&D is. DTT is now a VTT. D&D VTT. That's all it's going to be.
I don't want to miss this.
It's going to be.
Bueno Kitty dropped another $11 Canadian super chat. Said, meh. D&D Direct was more like the Disney D23 show and tell.
It is.
It's necessarily corporate circle jerking. They'll make a killing, so wah, good on them. Time to go platform orc licensed in other games now. You know what, Bueno Kitty, you're right. The consumer here,
right.
the consumer here still has a choice, and that's a good thing, right? And look behind me. In fact, actually, tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to be starting my next ridiculous series, which is all Derik's books he owns ranked.
Oh my God. That is ridiculous.
So I'm just going to be pulling random books off my shelf, and we're just going to keep going until I've ranked every single book that I own.
Oh, by the way, Derik.
Yeah.
A few things. First, we have over 200 likes. We need more likes, people. Way more likes. We have 660 people. Got to get up to 300 likes to make Derik do a silly dance. Derik, I think I'm going to be going to Origins. This time I'm going to make sure I go. I got to visit you. Maybe I'll come a little early. I'll go to your studio. I want to see this. I want to see these books.
This guy said he was going to be there last time. Instead, I had to do his press runs for him. Okay, so there's that.
No. Well, last year my daughter was graduating high school.
I
know.
Now
this year I got nothing, so I don't have to worry about it.
We're actually planning on having a pretty big Knights of Last Call meetup at Origins. So you're gonna have maybe we can do a meetup. Yeah, that'd be cool. And definitely, I mean, at the very least, we'll be all at a bar drinking somewhere. So there's also
fine by me. Fine by me, and that would be awesome. Yeah, I like to drink and I like bars. I like Ohio.
I'm also going to be at Gen Con, so...
Yeah, well, Gen Con, oh boy. I got plans for Gen Con, baby. Let me tell you. You're going to Gen Con. I got talks and everything.
Oh, I'm not important.
Enough is enough. This time Steven gets something at 300 likes. Dude, I already am silly, and fine, whatever. I'll do something silly. I don't care.
I love it. That is
we're almost up to 300 likes. That was too fast. All right, well, whatever.
Steven Cross is like, you keep moving the requirements.
No, you're still doing it. I'm just waiting for someone to find the lyrics so Derik can sing them.
Oh my God. But yeah, there were some interesting things that I noted about that BTT. One was there wasn't a grid. It was using vector movement. Like when they would drag their movement.
Yeah, you know what? It's using Warhammer movement.
Yeah,
it was.
It's like, you're going to move 17 feet.
Yeah, I saw that. It was 20, 21, 22, 23. It actually, it wasn't 5 foot increments. It was true, You know why?
Because that's how Unreal Engine works?
No.
Oh.
Because it's going to be really hard to play D&D in person.
Oh, it's true.
If you don't use a grid and you got to measure everything out, it's going to take freaking forever. But if you use online BTT, it does everything for you.
Jess informs me that, or Jess informs us that Neverwinter Nights had no grid either.
But this is D&D. This is D&D.
Norcal says D&D 4E was designed for online play. I won't go so far as to say D&D 4E was designed for online play, Norcal. I will say that D&D 4E was designed for
MMOs,
gridded miniature play.
Okay, I've had the story a million times. I'll tell it again. Chris Perkins and I was at D&D used to have these shows, and this was in 2008, and it was in Washington, D.C., and it was like a D&D summit. I don't remember what it was, but it was a fun show, and I went there, and John Statz went there, Chris Beamer went there, and Seth, all from Roll for Combat, went there. And Chris Perkins was there, and what's his name? Guy who designed Forgotten Realms, Ed
Greenwood.
Ed Greenwood was there. Everyone was there. Everyone. But can you believe that back in the day? I remember this because it was on December 29th because it was Chris Perkins' 40th birthday, but it was really his 10th birthday because his birthday is on February 29th. And we're talking about that. Anyhow, at the time, John Statz worked at Blizzard, and he was one of the leads in World of Warcraft, and they had some very, very long discussions that I was part of, and they were saying how they designed 4th edition. People were like, oh, it's fake. I'm like, I was there, and I got 3 witnesses that they designed it to be easier to program as a video game because people forget that Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale were huge back then.
Okay. And I'll be honest with you. I love 4th edition D&D. I get it. It's a much more crunchy focus. I think people give it a bad rap for a lot of reasons. You can still totally play D&D with it. That being said, I loved playing Icewind Dale, Baldur's Gate, those isometric 3D.
Oh, yeah.
It is a shame that they never made the 4E video game. It never got made. There's never been a video game that used the 4E engine.
Nope.
Because of millions of stupid reasons. But that would have been perfect for that kind of game.
The most ironic part is they literally designed it so it would be easily implemented for digital online play and a video game, and it never happened. Although they did have the digital online tool, which, to be honest, D&D 4th edition was so freaking hard to build characters, you had to use that tool. And I did subscribe and use it for a long time.
Oh, I was a D&D, what's it called? Insider.
Insider,
D&D.
yeah. It actually just died a few years ago. It was actually around for a long time.
Yeah, I canceled mine a long time ago, but...
they're saying Neverwinter MMO uses the 4E rules. A lot of people are calling you out. I guess we got to try it out. You know what? I never played the Neverwinter MMO. I know nothing about it, and I'm like a Mr. Video Game, and this is one glaring hole in my knowledge base. I'm going to check it out.
Is it 4E, or is it like 4E, concepts? I don't know.
Yeah, someone William says it's more of a 4E inspired, and they reference terms and mechanics.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no one's played the Neverwinter MMO. It's like, I can tell you the most rare esoteric video games. I cover everything. I play everything. I never even heard of it. I was like, damn, man. But there's a lot of MMOs out there that I've never heard of because there's so many of them. Anyhow, yes, is Neverwinter where Dritz lives? Yes. Neverwinter is where Dritz lives? No, but Neverwinter, well, Dritz is in the Neverwinter. No, but he's in the 10 Towns, that area.
Neverwinter is yet another large town located along the Sword Coast. It is south of Luskin. It is north of Waterdeep, and it is about several hundred miles south of Icewind Dale, where the 10 towns are located. Yeah. The capital of which
I don't know where he lives.
Bryn Shander lives. Well, Dritz is a wanderer. He's an adventurer.
I don't think he actually lives anywhere. No,
I don't know what I don't recall a novel where he lived in Neverwinter. But
yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, he's all over the place. I mean, who cares? I really don't care where he lives, but yeah, I mean, he was in Icewind Dale, but he moved all over the place. I mean, he lived in the forest.
Well, he was in Mithril Hall for many years.
Yeah, Mithril Hall. I mean, he lived there for quite a while.
And he lived in Silvery Moon for a while. But anyways, back to it. Oh, man, Ramel is talking about how the balance of 4E was incredible and how the at-will encounter daily utility almost completely fixed spellcasting from being stuck to the Vancian model. You are completely correct. It did fix everything, and of course people hated that, and they're like, we want to go back. So they went back to 5th edition, where spellcasters are busted, and they just do things that are just completely horrible for game balls, which I, by the way, am also fine with, because I think it's fine when a wizard casts a spell and polymorphs the dragon into a trout, and you eat it for dinner. I think that's awesome, but apparently a lot of people hate it. They basically... there's that saying that like you can please some of the people all the time. You can please all the people some of the time. But when it comes to TTRPGers, you can just never please them, period. That's all. Yep.
All right, hold on. Someone actually had a $5 super chat asking what the cat with the wings is. In the super chat, and I will tell you what the
cat with the wings. What are we talking about?
In
your art.
So all the art is from the upcoming Battles of Best, Very Strange and Unusual, which right now we are running RPG Superstar 2023, which you can just go to at rpgsuperstar.com, and you can submit 3 creatures, and they're judged by professionals. And if you win, you are published in a book. You're going to be published in the next. You get
to be ruthlessly rated by me.
That's true. You do get ruthlessly rated. Never thought of it that way. The funny thing is this cat, unfortunate this cat dragon, I realized we have another cat dragon, and they crap. They almost look exactly the same. It was literally the last piece of artwork. I literally just got it today, and I didn't even realize that the two almost look identical. It's like the rope monster all over again. Derek, how is it we have 2 cat dragons in one book? What's the chances of that, actually?
Well, given that fantasy people love dragons and they seem to love cats, I would say hi.
Yeah, I guess so. I think this is a triggerat. Let me look it up. Sorry, I've been working on other things. No, the triggerat is the one that I just did. Which one is this? Which cat is this?
But yeah,
keep talking while I look.
Yeah, I will. But yeah, I was gonna say. But regarding this whole VTT and this whole MMO thing, they want people. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? It's all about getting people to be paying $20 to $30 a month in small transactions, maybe one flat monthly fee, and, getting you into the game system. And again, I understand the problem set that they are trying to solve, because I run a YouTube channel, and I have a Discord, a Patreon Discord, where people are running games, and we run a big community game called Northern Reaches, where we have dozens and dozens of GMs running a living, breathing world for hundreds of players. They have this expectation. I'm playing online. Now, if we were playing at our table, I would just throw down a vinyl wet erase mat and from Chessex and just sketch things out. But people on a computer are used to seeing things slick. And there's going to be people who go, oh, I bought this battle mat, or I designed this thing in Photoshop, and I added all these cool lighting effects, and the torches flicker. And people go, that's kind of cool. And then GMs suddenly feel this extra level of pressure to deliver on not only a great gaming experience, but now you feel like you have to deliver on a great production experience as well. And that somehow I now need, this is the bar. And I think D&D is trying to sort of sell that to you as, yeah, you do need to do that. Yeah, that does suck, doesn't it? But okay, look what we can give to you. Look at what you can pay money, and all of those problems goes away. Brilliant, but horrible.
All right, so this is actually stupider than I realized. That is Tidrak, which is a Tidrak is like other dragons, collect hordes of treasure, although the contents of a Triggerat's hoard are a little different than those of its larger brethren. Using its highly dexterous opposable front claws, the Triggerat collects items that would be inconvenient to lose. The more inconvenient its loss would be, the more value the Triggerat places on a particular item. Thus, their hoard can contain a hairbrush of a noble who prized themselves on their appearance, or the water skins for an adventuring party that was about to head out into the wilderness. So they are tiny dragons. They are CR3. They're kind of like cat dragons, and they collect and steal stuff. And they also do help out wizards, and they have a little scrolls and wands. So I was so stupid. I was like, wow, that looks like the art I just commissioned. Okay, so this is what happens sometimes, Derik. Okay, we sometimes change the names of the creatures because of layout. It's actually the page count layout, because you need to have certain things facing certain ways. So we changed the name of this. I think it was a Dragat originally. We added the T, so it's Triggerad now. I actually had the artwork, and because I changed the name, I thought we didn't have this, so I commissioned someone else. So now I have 2 of these pieces of artwork. That's why I was like, wow, they look so similar. And then I realized I
put them up. Poll. One of them makes it.
Well, no, the other one.
2 cat dragons enter. 1 cat dragon leaves.
I'm so stupid. I was like, well, that was a waste of money. But anyhow, congratulations, Copper Award winner Gary Stacy John. You got 2 pictures of yours. Now, the second one I like a little more because it actually has a little hoard. Here's the crazier part. I had the same artist draw both of them. You think he would have told me, Steve, I think did you do this one already?
I'm just here to collect a paycheck, man. If you tell me to draw a flying asshole, I'll draw a flying asshole. That's fine.
Oh, God.
But anyways, I see some people in chat saying some things, which I also think is very true, because again, I do think there's an element here that is being addressed, but it's because we're moving the goalposts, right? Aaron Mortar in chat said, playing online has tripled my prep time, and several other people also sort of reverberated those thoughts. And I feel very much the same. I love to GM spur of the moment and be very like low prep, no prep. And to be honest with you, the games that have come out now, I think Pathfinder 2 in particular, I think is a little tough to do low prep or no prep in, because it is a complex game with a lot of moving parts, and you kind of need battle mats for things to make sense, feats like Fleet and spells like Longstrider, and things have 30-foot ranges versus 60-foot ranges. I mean, there's a meta magic feat that adds 30 feet to a spell distance. So, the difference between 12 squares and 18 squares is sizable. It makes a difference in the way that the game plays out. I'm not saying you need a grid to play these games. In fact, Jason Bullman on his Knights of Everflame, I think is what it's called, basically use Theater of the Mind, but it does kind of beg the question of how closely they were adhering to the Pathfinder 2 rules. All I'm trying to say is I think that playing online does slow me down. I think it does take longer. And I think a lot of DMs have just accepted that as the cost of doing business now. And so here comes WoTC looking like a savior with this VTT. But the truth of the matter is, like, you just didn't have to play like that to begin with. And you could have just done it theater of the mind, or just done it with a very simple sketch program. But the games aren't designed to support that kind of play. So people feel compelled to have to keep designing these really complex battle scenarios. Dude, that takes a lot of time. Dude. And then now here comes Wizards of the Coast for $10. I can download the Temple of Elemental Evil dungeon pack and build it in no time.
I hate to break it to you, you're giving them way too much credit. They don't care about that. All they want is, can we sell like tchotchkes and add-ons to people? That's all they care about.
Fine. Somehow,
you're talking about like they actually care about your prep time and stuff. They do not care. All they care about is selling you stuff. That's it.
I just
they do not care.
That
is an innocent thing you're thinking. That is so cute that you think they care how long it takes you to prep the game.
I'm simply saying it's an angle that they can shoot. It's just an angle that they can shoot.
They are going to use that, but that's not what they care about. They want to spend. They want to sell you as many things as possible.
And guitar guy Nick, shout out guitar guy Nick, says, I fully rely on the Foundry premium mods from Paizo, and my prep is 0. That's it's kind of like actually a great point, guitar guy Nick. You paid money for that premium module, and now your prep time is nothing compared to the rest of us schlubs who are being idiots and doing it ourselves and paying money for it. If we just stay in the lane and we go on the multiverse adventure to go beat Venger and Vecna, and we download the Venger's Wrath expansion pack from D&D 1, then your prep time will be 0 too, and your players will be amazed at the incredible sights and sounds that are going to await them. Join now today.
So
D&D 1.
So we had 200 and 300 likes. So I don't even know what we're going to do. We'll figure something out before the end of the stream. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I still haven't even gotten to my main point. Whenever Derek's on the show, it feels like it's Derek's show and I'm the guest. Because he never shuts up. Someone wrote here that there are many versions of D&D out there. So D&D is not dead, nor is this the end of D&D. All right. I'm going to explain what I meant by this. And now I'm going to give you the explanation. Now, stop talking, Derek. Let me give you my spiel, and then you can talk. Now, I think a lot. There was 2 things I thought of. First thing I thought of is that I'm a Paizo partner, and Paizo has private meetings with their partners where they go through what they're developing and what they're coming out with for like the next couple of months so that we can help plan and, work with them. And that meeting was literally Eric Monik saying, here's what we're doing for Starfinder. Here's new classes. Here's new races. Here's new places. Here's the books. Here's the adventures. Here's Pathfinder. Here's the books. Here's the adventures. Here's all the cool stuff we're doing. Here's all the new things you'll get to do in your game. Here's all the tchotchkes that are going to be part of the Starfinder universe, whether it's plushies or they're like stuff, they the goblins and, stuff like that. And, they go through it. And the whole time it's centered about the game. And then I watch this, and it is literally D&D is a brand, and it is a way to make more money. And it is being used as nothing more than a brand. Now, this happens all the time. The perfect example that everyone can relate to is Marvel. Okay, I was there. My office was 3 blocks from Marvel. My lead programmer actually of my old company used to work in Marvel for years and years and years. We used to hang out there. We used to go to Marvel all the time. And that was back when they actually made comic books and there was no movies. Talking about the 90s. And it was awesome. And they went bankrupt because they could only sell so many comics and they just couldn't get out of the brand. Like, it just wasn't enough to do. They just couldn't make enough money. And that's when they then started to do the movies, and then they would start selling rights, and eventually they got bought out by Disney. And now, 25 years later, no one buys comics. I mean, yes, people do buy comics, and comics are not. You could say, oh, comics are dead. And I guarantee someone in this chat will say, comics aren't dead. I go to my comic store and I buy comics every week. Comics are dead for all intents and purposes. And comparatively, when every one of these movies with C-list, superheroes is making $1 billion at the box office, and every single person knows who they are. And yes, I know Marvel is going into a downtrend here, but that doesn't negate the 23 other movies that all made $1 billion plus, and now everyone knows who Marvel is, and everyone knows exactly who the Avengers are, and who Tony Stark is, and who any of these characters are that I promise you no one has ever heard of before. 25 years ago, you could have named any of these characters and no one has heard of them except a very small number of people. That is how you grow, is that you have to go past the brand and what they originated as, which was comic books. And now this is nothing new. This happens all the time. Unfortunately, we are now seeing this happen in real time, is that D&D has grown as big as it can get. It just has. It's not going to get much bigger in its current form. You can only put out so many books. You can only make so much money on books, which then you have to sell, and you get 40% of the profit from, instead of 100% of the profit if it's a digital product. You have to translate into 1 million languages. You have to worry about printing and warehousing and disposal and Amazon and diamond distributors, and so man, it's such a hassle to have physical product out. Or you can put out digital products and you can make millions of dollars by making ones and zeros and selling those endlessly. And better yet, you don't even have to have anyone own anything. You can have everybody rent everything, subscribe to it, and that way no one even owns it. So they're locked into your system forever and ever. And oh yeah, of course everything works with D&D Beyond. Of course you can get your characters right into the VTT right from D&D Beyond, because they're going to be separate subscriptions. I hate to tell you. And sure, there'll be the D&D Beyond subscription and the VTT subscription, and there'll be the joint subscription where you get a small discount if you subscribe to both, but those are separate products. But the point of what I'm saying is that, much like comic books are, yes, they're around, yes, people read them, they're for all intents and purposes more or less dead comparatively to other forms of media, and especially if you compare it to what Marvel does with the same superheroes. In 10 or 20 years, their hope is that D&D will be a big movie franchise. There's going to be television series of D&D. Sound familiar? Like Mandalorian and Loki and all these other things. Maybe there'll be amusement parks with Dungeons and Dragons rides in there. Ride the Fear of the Beholder ride, or the Vault of the Mind Flayer ride, like all this crazy stuff. That is what they hope. And then, of course, that you play D&D, which is D&D Virtual Tabletop, which is, yeah, it's Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of. I mean, I guess it is. The same way watching the movies is kind of like reading the comics, I guess. Not really. It's not the same. That is my issue and why I'm saying it's dead. Is people still going to be playing D&D? Yes. Are people still out there going to be playing first edition and second and third and fourth? Yeah, of course they are. A couple of 100, 1,000 people, as opposed to but that's not cutting it. They need millions of people. Right. Millions of people to play this. And that is what they're going for. That is what the VTT is for. For the millions of people and the millions of dollars. Now I'm done, Derik. That is my take.
Well, I was not idle during your rant. So you want to game with your friends, but they are all new and have trouble playing pretend? It all seems so hard to be in the right cards just to play. But luckily, hope is not lost, despite how it seems that there's a very low cost. In fact, it's quite painless, in some ways, even brainless. And so, I will teach you today First, you get your friends together, and yes, you have them pique their interest and grab them when you show them live plays or fun short clips, or even the D&D movie. Set a time to start playing weekly. Make some characters that uniquely fit their fantasy or dope means, or something completely out of left field but groovy. Tell them it's their chance to star in their own series where they can do anything, save the world or be a villain. You can use your imagination. You can even smooch a king.
Was that the lyrics?
Yeah.
You were busy.
That's what I was able to copy out of in the Time Your Rant from the closed captions from the D&D Direct.
Funny. That's so funny. But it's this is not new though. Like I was telling Derik beforehand, like I remember, so I'm a child of the 80s and my dad was a child of the 50s, and he would go on and say, he would talk a lot about movie theaters because when he was a kid, he used to go to the movie theater like on Saturday morning. I don't know if people, I mean, I'm sure very few people know about this, but the way it worked is that you would go to the theater and you would spend all day. Like that was your activity. It was the mall of the 80s is in the 50s was the movie theaters, that on the Saturdays and Sundays when there was nothing to do, the kids would go to the theater, you'd pay $1 or not even, whatever it was, 50 cents. And then you would sit there and you would just watch movie after movie after movie. And that's where those serials came from, like the Buck Rogers serial.
Buck Rogers, yeah.
Right. And that's where Lucas, did like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Star Wars because they missed that. So my dad used to always say, oh, I remember it was so much fun. The theater was this place we'd all hang out and we'd go to, and like all my friends were there. And I just didn't even know what he was talking about. Because I just didn't have that frame of reference. And now I feel like I'm becoming that because we're going to talk about in 20 years. I remember when we used to go to my friend's house and we'd all bring beer and, get pizza and we'd sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons. And now you just sit on your computer and play that video game. Computer. You just pull out your phone and play that video game with your friends.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. I mean, this happens. This happens every generation. It's nothing new. It's going to keep happening.
Yeah. We got a $5 super chat from Goldacott did nothing wrong, which I completely disagree with. Goldacott embraced the power of the paw wraiths and deserved his fate. But anyways,
but in the fire caves, he got burned.
He did. But you know what? I'm just going to say this. Kirk made it to the end of his series. Picard made it to the end of his series. Janeway made it to the end of his series. Why did Cisco have to be the only captain that didn't make it to the end of their own series?
Anyway. They retconned that.
Did they?
Yes.
Moving on. Goldcott says, I can't wait for the Heroes of the Lance movie franchise starring Chris Pine as Tanis and Andy Serkis as Tasselhoff. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's Chris Pine's going to be like their go-to D&D star.
He was really good.
Here's the problem. There are only two possible outcomes, neither of which makes me happy.
No, he said Chris Pratt, not Chris Pine.
Oh, he said Chris Pratt.
Yeah, okay, Chris Pratt.
Hey, you know what? They're the same.
Yeah, I'd say Chris Pine. He was much better than Chris Pratt. But anyhow, keep going.
The two outcomes of the D&D movie are I'm going to hate it, or I'm going to enjoy it and hate that. So those are the only two options. But I'm sure, here's what I'm sure. I'm sure it is a lovely homage to all of the brand IP. And I will probably appreciate that because I, somewhere deep inside, have a beating heart and a nerd's joyful giddiness at seeing something that used to be, kind of closeted and taboo, aka your nerddom, being out on full display for everyone to see. But I'm sure it is a horrible movie.
It's really good.
Your liking it is actually making me feel more confident that I'm going to not.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, wow. Did you like Guardians of the Galaxy?
It's not a good movie.
Did you like Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Less than the first one.
Yeah, me too. Did you like the first Ant-Man? Not the second or the third one, the first Ant-Man.
Well, the third Ant-Man was horrible.
I didn't even see it.
It was bad. The first Ant-Man. You know what? It was okay because fundamentally, at that point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when your character is the guy called Ant-Man who could talk to ants and shrink small, you're going to be a little bit silly. But they hammed it up a little bit. But it wasn't like a compelling story.
Yeah, well, this was I'll be very curious to hear your take.
Friday. Night's
Yeah,
last
I'm
call.
going to be traveling, but I'll see if I can
You
zoom
can watch.
in or something.
You can watch. You can come and join on your phone.
Yeah.
No, but,
That's right. I'll see if I can. Purple
anyways.
GM for $20. $20. Is that one of yours or one of mine?
No,
hey,
I don't think so.
Cool. Hey, thank you, Purple. Just as the camera killed realism art movement and created new media, so too has the digital space done for the TTRPG community. TTRPGs, whoops, scrolled away, will go on, like art will go on, but the realism has died and so has live play died. You see, live play is never going to die. It just isn't. In fact, it has grown, okay? It has been bigger, like this last couple of years. All forms of geeky entertainment, and you can look up, they just did their yearly report on ICV2. They do, they're the business side. If you go to the ICV2 website, and they did a report, and like our hobby grew another 10%. It's grown every single year for like 15 years in a row. It's only grown. Yeah. The problem is that it's not enough, okay? And it takes a lot. Like for every dollar it costs them, say, this is the math. Like it'll say, okay, it costs 80 cents to earn $1. So they're making 20-cent profit. I'm just making this up. Actually, it is around that. It's actually even better. I think it's like 43% profit, which is really good. So they make something like a 40% profit margin on D&D and Magic right now, which is crazy. It's insanely high. But it's not 100%. It's not 90 or 80. And I hate to break it to you, those digital tools will let you get up to those 90, 80% profit margins. And they're saying, hey, man, even if we lose half the people, we'll still make more money. And we have a huge audience. Right now, their audience is really limited to English speakers in the United States and some of Europe. But now they're the entire world, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Got several more super chats.
Yeah, William Brandis, aka Aaron Smith from our channel.
Ooh.
Aka not patron, the guy who I do this with. Said, Derek, I know you laughed at the Speak with Dead. Sorry, I know you laughed at the Speak with Dead thing that they play 50,000 times a day, which they do, and went, yeah, that would happen. Here's the deal. I mean, I looked at it and went, I smirked and I was like, oh, the classic, like the GM's going to be like everything the players say, literally. Normally we completely ignore what the characters say in character versus out of character. But when Speak with Dead spells cast, we're going to be like, oh, that was a question. Yeah. And you know what? That probably even happened to me when I was like 13 or 14 as well, when we were playing. That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say is like the movie isn't trying to be a good movie on its own.
Yeah, it is, because that scene, that's only one that's a very small part of that scene.
It's trying to be meta referential and funny because it's meta. And I haven't seen the movie, so I'm not passing judgment.
They do it much better. I agree until I see that seems like a 5-minute long scene, and it's really good, like superbly well done.
If I could, I would live stream it while I was in the theater, but I can't.
It was good.
Heretical Seagull, which is a great name. D&D
and the picture. Look at the picture.
That is fantastic as well. D&D and movie theaters is a good example. Movie theaters are dying because COVID taught movie studios they can make way more money with just digital only offerings. Really, yeah.
Of course, yeah. Everyone knows that. I mean, everyone knows. Everyone knows about that. Everyone knows that you can make more money. The thing is that there was a lot of deals and there's a lot of reasons. There's so much we can get into why movie theaters, and they have problems because the deals they have with the studio, whatever. I won't get into that. Here's the thing. D&D and WoTC, they don't have a deal. They can do anything they want. Okay, they can just decide, okay, we're never going to sell another Magic the Gathering book, Magic the Gathering, the D&D book for the rest of their lives. And then, like, we're never going to sell a book. It's dead. They don't have to worry about that. They don't have any deals with anyone. They could just come out with anything they want, and they're going to come out with their own books and do it digitally. And that's what the VTT is that they want everyone to use the VTT and D&D online. And that's it. Okay. Yeah. They don't want you to play it any other way. And they don't want anyone else to play any other game any other way.
Yeah, well, and I want to say something very important here, because Bueno Kitty made a great super chat and said, "I don't understand the doom and gloom over VTT RPGing. It was heaven sent during lockdown to keep groups together. Mm-hmm. I still keep in touch with people across the country using VTT versus toxic social media contracting. Here's the deal. Yeah, Bueno Kitty, I run a community with not just people all across North America, but people all over the world. We have some of our biggest, most fervent and active fans and patrons are from Australia, New Zealand, Europe, South America, and it's incredible. It's just such a gift to be able to play games with these people who, quite frankly, I would normally have no experience with, or they wouldn't even be able to make it to a Gen Con because they literally live half a world away. It's an incredible thing. But the VTTs are designed to service the game. It's not the other way around. And I think what we're complaining about, or the doom and gloom, is that we think that the game is going to now serve the VTT, right? And
I guarantee it. They actually even alluded to that, and they even talked about that in the video. I mean, the game is being designed around the VTT, and that, look, the last time they did that, you got 4th edition D&D. I mean, they literally designed it around that, and that was the edition that everyone hated the most, and quote almost killed D&D.
It was awesome.
It was, except look, the combat was fantastic. But the role playing was terrible.
No, that is that is the most bullshit statement that anyone has ever made, because and it gets made all the time. What does that mean? 4th edition, it had skill checks, just like Pathfinder 2 and 5th edition.
Oh, let me rephrase it. It didn't have magic items, did it?
It had magic items. It had a shitload of magic items.
I'm trying to remember what it missed. They missed something really good. I haven't played it in a long time.
It had feats. It had spells. It had powers. It has abilities.
Man, I loved it. I was a sorcerer, and I was great.
You had awesome, cool racial abilities. And the idea that you can't role, like, what does that mean? Where's the role-playing mechanics in Pathfinder 2 or 5th edition? They don't exist. Role-playing is just you and your friends sitting around talking in funny voices or making things up.
Yeah, I guess
that has nothing to do with the game. And then when it comes to the actual non-combat parts of the game, if you look at D&D 5th edition or you look at Pathfinder 2nd edition, if you go outside of the combat section, you have a skill system.
Yep.
And the skill system is make a check versus a DC. But guess what? 4E had the exact same thing, except it also introduced the idea of the skill challenge, because it was actually trying to put more emphasis on non-combat elements of the game.
Oh my God, I set him off. Right. I'm going to go take a nap over here. Okay, yes. I love 4E. Don't get me wrong. I played a character from level 1 to level 20 in 4E, and I used to play it at cons all the time, and I loved it. It just... I never played it. I remember then they redid it. Remember they revamped it? You probably know more than me. Essentials. Yeah. And I hear Essentials everyone was saying it was fantastic, but it was way too late.
People loved Essentials. I hated Essentials because the reason why people liked Essentials is because it was going back to a sort of a more traditional.
It was too far. And now the books are all gone. But that's the thing. It's like people will still play this. You're talking to someone, I only play online, okay? I've been playing online for 11 years, maybe 12 now, I don't even remember. And the reason is because we all moved away. Everyone moved away, and that's how we continue playing to this day. And I have no problem playing online. I love playing online.
And by the way, if you don't like 4th edition, that's fine. But don't like it for the right reasons. Don't like it for some made-up, manufactured bullshit reason that you just made up because you heard it online, and even though you probably actually never even played the game, or if you did, you're probably a bad player and you played it wrong.
Yeah. So, and so thanks. So the issue I have is that I keep saying it is that this is going to be, you want to play D&D? Okay, here's the app.
Sure.
Where's the books? They're on the app. I'm like, where's the adventures? They're on the app. Everything's gonna be there. That's where everything's gonna be, and that's where you're gonna have to play and buy it, and that's it. And that's gonna be the only way to play. And yes, they're coming out with books, and I've been talking a lot with big distributors like Diamond and others, and they agree that they believe that this is their business, so they really have to be sure that they see that books are going to become more of a collector's item and more of something that is going to be, there will always be a market for people who buy them. And a weird way they can increase the price of these books because the number of people who buy them will be the same or smaller, so they can make them even nicer and make them like collectibles. But 99.9% of the people are going to be playing and buying all their products online.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what they want. And that's why it's the death of D&D. And I saw that one of our big guys, Tiger Eyes, who's a big supporter, wrote at the beginning of the end, what did WoTC fuck up now? Duh. Well, I guess he came in late. They messed up a lot. Hey, look, it's just going to be sad that you are going to have to go. It's bad enough that when I go to Gen Con, and I don't do it anymore. I used to run for a long time. I ran Society, both Starfinder and Pathfinder. I haven't done it in like 2 or 3. I haven't done it in 3 years. But I used to always run it, and I always ran the specials. And I remember when people started to show up with their tablets because their characters are all in Hero Lab. And now everyone has their tablets. And a lot of people even have computers at the table. Now, I'm okay with that. I'm actually fine with that. Look, characters can get very confusing. I am a big proponent of using online tools to help with your character sheets, help keep track of things, especially if you haven't played in a month or you haven't played in a while. Like, it's great. It really works very well. You know, I'm talking to someone who makes their living off building websites and interactive tools. So sure. I have no problem with that. It is jarring, though, when you see everyone there with their, you know, whenever I would go and everyone has their laptop or everyone has their iPad. It is a little depressing, but I understand it.
Yeah.
But wait until the day when we show up and you see everyone sitting around with their laptops.
Oh, I see it all the time already.
Play a freaking D&D game, and they don't even use. There's not even anything on the table. Like, they don't even use the dice. And that, by the way, there's all this insidious stuff in there. Like, if you read the outline of D&D Direct, like, they said this, by the way, now, that all the calculations of whether you hit or how much damage you do, that's all automatic, by the way. You don't have to do anything anymore. You can turn that off, by the way. But that's why you can't roll real dice, because otherwise you got to manually do that.
I have ranted about this before. And, you know, and like in chat, Death Angel Shadow says, I'm going strictly in person. I don't really want to play online anymore. Like, I respect that. In fact, I feel the same way. I understand that that is not a reality for all these people in all these situations. That being said, I remember playing a 5e campaign. I was a player, and we were playing online on Roll20. And guess what? In our campaign, because of things that we did and adventures that we went on and quests that we achieved and we were able to unlock our magical potential. And my character gained the ability to attune more than 3 items in 5e. I could attune 4 items in 5e or 5 items. Guess what? We were playing online, Roll20, D&D Beyond. Guess what? There's no, like, how do you do that? Right? Like, on a character sheet, I would just write that with a piece, on a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. And the more that these automation elements keep getting added to the game, right? Like, I'll give you a great example. Pathfinder 2, Foundry, they introduced a really cool module, or not even module, it's part of the core game now. It knows if you're flanking. In fact, it knows if you have a reach weapon, you could be 1 square away, and now my pole arm is going to threaten that character and they're flanked, which is great. But then let's say that we're playing and I just throw together a quick monster and I'm custom building it, or I'm custom building a weapon. And now, I don't know, I don't put in that it has the reach trait in my monster description that I'm going to use once. And now suddenly it doesn't work anymore and we're expecting it to work. I'm just saying it adds this technological challenge to the game that just never existed before. We all know, okay, he's got a reach weapon, he's attacking him. But now it's like, no, now we have to make sure that the computer knows too what is going on. And it should save you time, but if you change your game at all, I just think it just becomes a tremendous pain in the ass. I get that it is essential for so many players. I also get, by the way, there's a lot of people out there. I'm not one of those people, obviously, but Steven is obviously not one of those people. There are a lot of people out there who they getting together groups, socially on the regular. That's a very tall ask. Maybe you have disabilities, maybe you have social anxieties, and that's just a challenge for you. So these are incredible tools, and they should continue to be developed. And Foundry and even Roll20 are fantastic tool sets. But the D&D virtual tabletop is not just a virtual tabletop. It is a platform designed to shift the focus of the game from going on heroic adventures with your friends and telling stories together and letting dice randomly determine events that are going to be part of your collective memory for generations to come, into just a prepackaged product, the D&D cinematic universe, as Steven said, and they're going to sell it to you. And they're going to sell it to you one module, one widget at a time.
And that's why it's dead.
That's why it's dead. But they did concede and release everything to the Creative Commons. So D&D can live in our hearts and in the OSR, forever. In fact, you know what? I'm officially declaring it. 5e D&D is now technically kind of part of the OSR. So if you really want to think about it. People always lose their mind because they come to our channel and we have a category in our Discord called OSR, Old School Renaissance, and 4e D&D is in it. But it's like, yeah, that's old school now. I mean, that game is almost 15 years old.
So
but
someone asked me if I saw the D&D. There's dice that are Bluetooth, and then when you roll them, it will automatically. Oh, yeah, I've seen that. It comes up in my ads all the time.
I see it in my ads all the time as well. They're like, "Don't you want it?"
No. Not really, but I see the point of it. I get it. The thing is like, this is, I don't know. I do a lot of, one of my big interests is user design and interface design, because I do a lot of interface design and UX. So I'm very much into like usability and methodology like that. And this is one of those, like, it seems like a good idea, but it's not solving a problem that people really have. It's like, okay, cool, you got Bluetooth dice. You could just roll a die. I mean, like, or you could even use the digital one. Like, what is this really solving? There's like, well, you can roll real dice and have it work. I'm like, I guess, but
right.
It's not doing enough to be a problem that needs to be solved. Okay, and that's really where good design comes from. Steve Jobs was the god of this, is that he would come up with design that literally made his big thing was making your life easier. And he was big into time. Like, he would say, like, this was very famous when the Mac was first coming out, is that it was taking, I'm just making this up, like 30 seconds to start up. And he screamed at his engineers to make it faster. And he said, if you take off 1 second of that startup time, you're saving billions of hours a year from people waiting. And he's right, and that's like that's why their designs are so innovative and did so well, is because he literally was making your life better. And these are things that are none of this is making your life better or making the game better.
Well, for us anyways. I mean, there are people out there, who are going to really like this.
Yeah.
And in fact, they might even go so far as to say, oh, you play D&D with like paper and dice and you use your imagination? Like, that sounds horrible and boring.
Yeah.
And okay. I mean, and there's a generational gap there. I'm not an idiot. I get it. Like, I grew up playing this way and I think it's valuable, but I think it's also kind of the core essence of what the game is about. And again, I see people in chat here, like, I'm not an idiot. Like, I agree. We won't know what it is until it's finally released. So that is true. And things like that. But I'm not going to just shoot it and say it's going to be immediately horrible and awful. In fact, there probably will be things about it that are cool.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be really look, I'm a sucker for graphics. I love it.
Somebody in chat, I'm sorry I missed your name, but they were talking about like using dynamic lighting in their VTTs. Look, I remember the first time I loaded up Roll20 and I built like a dungeon, and then I gave somebody like a torch, and like you got like, wow, that's what you can actually see with a torch. It's like so little, right? Like, and it's like, oh, you moved to the other side of the room. Guess what? The rest of the party back by the doorway, they're in complete darkness now. Like, it did sort of was kind of an eye-opening moment, and it was also admittedly very, very cool, and it was very fun to do that. I'm not disagreeing with you. That stuff is really cool. But I still think at the end of the day, like, TTRPG should be about the TTRPG experience, not cool dynamic lighting effects and neat 3D monsters that, have an animation for spitting acid all over the people.
So Bueno Kitty for 11 Canadian said, "Can you not unmarry the D&D rule set from the VTT? If the VTT has an amazing pricing and interface superior to other VTTs, then why not use it only as a battle map visual reference? F the rules, use your own." Yeah. I mean, look, there's actually, that is an interesting question. So yes,
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you how it works. So yeah, okay. You can use the VTT obviously for anything. I mean, it's just a freaking VTT. You could use it as a miniature set, but you have people like Foundry, and here's the problem. People like Foundry and Roll20, they actually need a license to put up Dungeons and Dragons. And that's where the OGL came from, because they didn't want to give them or let them, because if it's open, then they actually don't really need a license, or they need,
right.
They could just do it. So if they say, oh, there's no more license, if you want to play 6th edition Dungeons and Dragons, you can only play with our VTT. You cannot play it anywhere else. It's not licensed, and we'll sue you if you try.
Right.
That is what that was all about. And now, because they backed off, they're like, all right, I guess you can try to play it on there, though they're going to go the other way, which is all right, but it's going to suck.
Right. And we make no promises. It's like, oh, it's a terrible experience. Well, yeah, we told you, if you should be playing it the right way if you want to play it that way.
Yeah. And they're going to give out a lot. They're going to make it really... Look, there's no difference between, that's like the whole food industry. I mean, you could have McDonald's, or you can have Peter Luger. I mean, they're not the same thing, but sometimes you just want McDonald's.
That is high on my list. The next time I find myself in New York City is to go to Peter Luger.
It's my favorite restaurant in the world. I'll bring you. I go there all the time.
I understand it's
all the time,
quote unquote, overrated.
No, it's not.
Well, wrong. No, I mean, but like, there's a lot. There was some scathing article in like Variety.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, dude. I've been to every steakhouse in Manhattan, and I will tell you the secret. I'll tell you the secret of Peter Luger.
I've watched a ton of YouTube videos about Peter Luger.
Okay,
so
I'll tell you the secret. You want to hear my secret?
Yeah.
I bet they haven't said this. Maybe they did. You don't go for dinner. You go.
Okay.
You go for lunch.
Got it. You get the steak for 2 or whatever.
No. They only serve the hamburger at lunch, and the hamburger is fantastic.
I gotta get that steak. So you get
the hamburger you get as an appetizer. Everyone always does that. You get one hamburger and you split it. Like when I go with my family, we just cut it in 4s and we each get a bite, and then we get the steak. We get everything else. Trust me, we get the schlag, we get everything. But no, you're talking to a connoisseur. I lived in Great Neck. That's where I grew up, which is there's only 2 Peter Lugers, and the other one's in Great Neck. So I used to go to it all the time, my friend.
Yeah. But when we were just in Vegas, we always, every night we try to go to a very high end, steakhouse.
Oh, I got to go to Vegas with you, because I love that crap.
I got the first night we went to Jean Georges.
Jean Georges. That's French.
You don't like Jean Georges?
French. I hate French food.
But it's a steakhouse though. This is a steakhouse.
That's true. That's true. I've been there once. I was there once. It was fine.
But I got myself like a $200 Wagyu mix.
I've had Wagyu. Yeah.
I love it. It's so expensive. I never get it. But like, here's why. I don't like fillets. I like the texture, but I hate that it doesn't have the flavor. Filet mignon's
like garbage.
I don't like it. It's my least favorite cut of meat. It's why I love a strip and a ribeye, but I'll be the first to admit those could be a little, chewy. So the Wagyu kind of is the best of both worlds. But anyways,
do you go to St. Elmo's?
Oh, in Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, dude, then we're going. I go like 3 times. I go like every night if I can. I love it. I said at the bar. I love it.
The shrimp cocktail there is the hottest. It's the hottest shrimp cocktail sauce.
It's so insane.
It's like wasabi. It's like
no, it's not wasabi. It's like wasabi on fire. It's so ridiculous. It is such a strong. Well, so my wife and my kids, for my birthday, they bought shrimp. And then they flew in And you could buy it. Yeah, you can get the sauce. So they got the sauce
respect for that.
From there. And then they tried it beforehand. They're like, how hot can it be? And then they went like this and they ate it. And they're like, oh!
It's so hot.
They were like, they couldn't believe it. They were like, oh my God, this is like mouth-watering, face-melting hot.
Yeah, it's bad. Not to continue to go off topic, but Wizards of the Tower said Wagyu overrated.
It is overrated. It is overrated.
I do believe it is overrated, Wizards of the Tower. What I will say is overrated.
I had it in Japan. It was overrated.
Is dry aging. I think dry aging is overrated. I don't think it does. I don't think it really imparts that much flavor. And then all the desiccated meat gets cut away anyways.
Anyhow, by the way, the best steakhouses, the best meat I've ever had consistently is always in Europe. It doesn't matter. It's always in Europe. It has to do with the way they prepare it. Best hamburgers, the best meat, the best everything. It's hands down. It's not even a contest.
I have been to Europe 3 times. And I ate well there all 3 times.
I went to Spain over the Christmas break. Oh, the weird thing is I lost 15 pounds and I wouldn't stop eating because I was just walking so much. It was so good.
That's where I obtained my love of paella.
I went to a paella. I made paella. I went to a class and we made paella.
Like with the big
professional.
Dish.
Cool. And I'll show you. I had a party. We had a paella for 30 people. It was 5 feet wide. The paella thing. That crazy, and they can go up to head pans as big as 300 people. It's paella party. People were very excited.
Dominicus is saying I'm a heretic for saying that dry aging doesn't impart any flavor, but he says it's huge for
Okay, we got a whole bunch of things here. People, wait, let's super chat it while you talk about that. Blah 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 blah. Okay, here we go.
Steph,
Tiger Eyes Road. As I said, it's one thing to have a social platform facilities. The game as a TTRPG. WoTC is making D&D into a computer game, not a TTRPG, more of an MMO. It's D&D, the MMO, TTRPG, VTT. That's what it is with microtransactions. Steph L, $4.99. The VTT version of D&D in its current iteration, as shown, has nothing that will keep players around, in my opinion, unless they turn into a Final Fantasy 14 type game with constant updates. But what do I know? They're going to. That's the thing. It's going to have constant updates. Constant. And it's going to be... Dude, the guy who runs it came from Zynga. Okay? Mobile games made $200 billion last year. That's almost $1 billion a day. Okay? This is going to be one of those Zynga-type games. Come on, man. Oh, Dawn of Mutilation said, come to Germany, I'll treat you. I might be going to Germany. We're talking about our winter plans, and we were looking at places to go.
It has been one of my life bucket lists is to go to Spiel.
I know. I want to go there too.
In Essen.
I know. We can go together.
That would be awesome.
I'll go. Actually, I definitely go. I just I don't want to go by myself. That's the problem. Right. It's like I don't mind going to Europe, but I kind of want to go.
Yeah. But years ago, I made a German friend, on a cruise, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be like my inn. I didn't even think she lived near Essen. I was like, all right, let's do it. But we lost touch over years because, whatever.
Robert Duff said that the St. Elmo's is just too strong.
He's saying
you're absolutely right. You're right. But
it is too strong.
Oh, it's way too strong. It's way too strong. But if you eat it with other things, you gotta mix it up. There's a whole method to having the shrimp cocktail.
Last anecdote. Random story. The most nervous I ever was at a dinner in my life was we were in Indianapolis for a Magic the Gathering tournament, and we went to St. Elmo's on Saturday night for dinner. There was probably 8 to 10 people, many of whom were ordering cocktails or drinks, beers. Everybody got a steak. There were several orders of appetizers ordered, and of course it's a la carte sides. And I'm not going to chicken out, but we decided to credit card game it. And, that's where everybody takes their credit card, they put it in a hat, and they shuffle it up, and they have the waiter or the waitress pull one card out, and that's the person who gets charged.
That sucks.
And so that was probably a $1,500 meal before tax and tip. And I was like, all right, there's a 90% chance I dodge this. Please. But anyways,
did you?
No, I didn't. I did not pay. So
okay.
it was a free meal. But I was sweating that meal pretty bad the whole time because I was like, oh, we're going to
do what I do. Just meet a whole bunch of people, say you'll meet them there, and then they usually treat you. And then you're like, oh, thank you. Yeah. By the way, Steven Spoonamore said, still at 202 likes. Refresh. We're at 396 likes. Almost up to 400. I have to do something. I don't know. I'll do something. This guy suggests something. I can't sing or do any of that, but I'll do something silly. Yeah, you don't have to tip in Europe. That's right. That's the other nice thing about Europe. Man, now everyone's talking about steak tips. All of our streams always, of course, this is when we start losing people. Everyone's like, they stopped talking about the VTT and they're talking about steaks. Who cares about that? Where it's off time to, hey man, you got to give everyone a little break.
Well, look, there's two types of people who watch your streams, or three types of people. There are people who watch your streams because they like you. There are people who watch your streams because they like your gaming content in general. And then there's people who like watch your streams because they specifically care about that specific topic on that specific day.
Correct.
And YouTube recommended you. Otherwise, they wouldn't even know you exist.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to know who your audience is sometimes.
All right. Well, sorry we talked about steak tips, but hey, man, anyways, that's where you can actually go and get a beverage, get up, go to the bathroom.
I mean, we've been going for 2 hours anyways. So, but, you know, it's like.
Almost. Wait, so I did have something else about the VTT.
Sure.
That I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? I had notes. I can't remember my notes. So what was your most depressed? You were commenting a lot yesterday. Well, actually, let me go backwards. What did you like about the
D&D Direct, the presentation, the D&D Direct presentation, the whole thing?
Yeah. What did you like? What actually were you like? Oh, that's okay. That's cool.
Okay, that's a great question. Okay, I when it first came out, when Mojang first came out, I played Minecraft. Me and my adult friends had our own private Minecraft server, and we would go on, and you know, you could die or whatever like that, and everybody kind of carved out their own little niche and did their own little things. And I've told this story before, but maybe not on this stream, but. My thing was like, I love just gathering resources for people. Mining was a big thing I like to do. And I ended up making this big, like, agricultural project, which had this like floodgate that would release water, which would cause the water to spill down the field, which would knock all of the grain out of the fields, the little icons. They would float in the water.
Oh my God, you're such a geek.
Go down to like a stream, and that would get captured, and it would automatically drop into like a loot box.
You know what I used to do? I used to do Minecraft. I used to do I used to do the little agriculture.
But I was like 27 when I was like,
the water would go in, and it would knock it down.
Okay.
And then it would...
Stop. It was awesome. So, like, you know, it's like 20, I was like 25 or 26 when this was happening. But what ended
You're
up happening,
27, 25, 26. I was 12. I was 12 years old.
It was nighttime. And so I had this really complicated thing built with,
this creeper came up and it killed me. Oh no! I lost it all and I had to respawn somewhere random. I couldn't find it.
No, it's worse than that. It had a lot of redstone circuitry. Okay, it was a very complicated machine. God. Okay, and I noticed that one of my torches was off center. It wasn't in the right block. So I removed the torch, and in the millisecond that the interior of this place went dark, a creeper spawned. And I was like, no. And then it blew up in the middle of my like aqua, you know, my hydrodynamic computer works. It just destroyed everything. I got so depressed I never played Minecraft again. Anyways, I like the Minecraft stuff because I think that Minecraft, a lot of things in my experience with Minecraft are kind of the cool things that are cool about D&D. Minecraft doesn't have a story. It's just a world for you to explore. It's literally a sandbox. And there are so many aspects of Minecraft is make the game what you want it to be. If you want to go and, you know, get diamond armor and go into the nether and fight stuff, you can go do that. If you want to just, you know, I don't know, make cool, pretty houses, you could do that. So
you know what? You could almost say Minecraft is the D&D for the younger generation.
Yeah, maybe it is. And
it is, definitely.
And I think that is okay. I don't play it anymore, and I think putting D&D and D&D related stuff into it and making it more D&D like is actually awesome. As long as they don't,
it looked great.
Yeah, I thought it looked amazing.
It looked great.
I thought that was awesome.
I love that. I thought it looked fantastic. I'm going to try it. I mean, unless it gets terrible reviews, I'm like, I thought it looked really good. I like Minecraft. I like those type of games.
Then they showed us, then they showed us the trailer for D&D, which we've all seen a million times.
Yes.
I will say, independent of that, by the way, the hosts, now apparently people were saying in the chat, like, oh, don't blame it on this. Like, this guy is normally very funny. In his other I don't know him from his other works.
I don't know.
But I will say that kind of fake corporate, like, oh, I'm really excited to see the owlbear. Not me. Can't wait to see the mimic. Like, I hate that so bad. I don't know who that's pandering to, but it's horrible.
Oh my God. I'm going to have one of those and I'm going to hire you to do mine.
No.
Well, because then we'd serious troll. Oh, they had that news article. Remember they had that fake news stream?
Oh, yeah, that was horrible too.
No, that was good. That went from horrible back to good. It totally went all the way around. It was so bad, it was beautiful. I loved it. I was like, oh, this is actually really good.
It's so bad, it's good. It's not something that usually works for me because I don't like that. I like quality for quality's sake. Then they did the Joe Cat song, which obviously was
Joe Cat song,
which was obviously very.
I was fast humming along. I love that Joe Cat song.
Horrible.
Oh, is that Kermit? Kermit came in?
Kermit says it's horrible. And then they did the Hasbro Monster Madness, which, okay, great. 11-inch owlbear dolls for probably $700. Good for you. I don't, whatever. Okay, that's fine. It's actually really funny to me too. It's like, okay, so we're going to be buying miniatures that go on our shelves, but not to play with. Like,
nope.
No, it's just, and then they did the Bob Salvatore thing, which now that I'm looking at this was way too long.
Oh, it was way too, it was good, but it was even I was like, okay, move it along. It should have been like a minute. It was like 3 minutes and it felt like 30 minutes.
And then there was the VTT demonstration, which obviously we spent the majority of the time talking about, and I thought was pretty horrible and awful. And, then there was a bunch of stuff about a baby owlbear, the fake news announcement. That was horrible.
That was right.
That did make me want to die.
Baby owlbear and the baby mimic. And by the way, if you want to play Mimic, you can go to battlesy.com and next month is Mimic May, where you can play a Mimic.
And then there was the D&D documentary thing with Joe Manganiello, and and he's working with John Peterson, who obviously wrote some incredible books. It'll be interesting to see what it is. I'm worried it's just going to be like, here's a parade of celebrities telling you about their D&D experience. Wait.
That's what I was going to ask you. I remember two things. First of all, have you seen The Art of D&D on Amazon?
On Amazon? I own it.
Oh, you own it. Okay. Oh my God! How dare you insult me? Have you seen The Art of D&D? I haven't signed the blood.
No, of course I own that.
No, I'm just saying. Well, no, you're the only other person I know who's seen it. It's really interesting and very good. I mean, it's a little hackneyed here and there, but it's really well done, and it's a good history of how, like, oh, we have to design and draw this artwork that had no reference. They like invented the concepts of, okay, let's see. You own.
Wait.
I'm talking about the movie. The movie.
Oh, the art. Oh, no, I don't have that. No.
Oh, no. You should watch it. Okay. No one's seen it. No. Okay. So it's called The Art of Dungeons and Dragons. It's on Amazon Prime. Watch it. It's an interview with all the 4 original artists. Well, 3 because one of them's dead, but at TSR and how they.
Oh, okay. It's called Eye of the Beholder?
Yeah, Eye of the Beholder. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I got to watch that.
I watched it on the plane and I was like, oh my God, this is really good. Because the big part about it is and what they say, first of all, everything was painted by hand. They were in a studio. They're in their 20s. And they were just talking about how, like, they would get art orders and they had no reference. They just have to make it up, and it's fascinating how, they kind of defined, and that's what it ends up showing. It's like, here's what they designed, and now you see everything today, and it all came from these 4 artists who basically invented almost the entire genre. It's very interesting. It's not that they claimed they invented Art Club, that they claimed that they invented fantasy art. They came up with a lot of standards that are used today. I'm not saying that they invented it, but if you wanted to, yes, there's a million dragons out there, but like if they needed a gelatinous cube, or they talked about the carrion crawler, they just had to just, come up with it. Like there was nothing to reference. There was no internet. There wasn't like, they just make it up. So it was very interesting to that. So,
yeah, I mean, I'll have to check it out. I mean, one of my dreams, I'm in my, getting up there in age. I've been waiting on it too long, but I want to get him before he dies. It's like, I'd love to get a bunch of prints. I mean, and like if he has like of like Larry Elmore.
Yeah, I've seen Elmore in a lot. He's at Gen Con every year.
No, I know. But
he
like,
is getting up there though.
He's getting up there.
Pretty old.
But like, I would just love to get, any of those sort of old stuff, and a lot of them have, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Websites. They have websites where you can go onto their website and you can order prints, and you can, basically like Larry Elmore does it.
Why order prints when you have the original art?
Jeff Easley does it. Well, if I could afford the original art, that would be incredible. But obviously, I cannot.
See that? Oh, it's my favorite piece.
Oh my gosh!
The original artwork.
Is it really?
Yes.
That's sick.
The Fiend Folio. I'm sorry, the Familiar Folio art piece. It's my favorite piece. Look at that, the original.
Owning original art of classic pieces of Magic the Gathering art or D&D art.
I have those
would
too.
Just
and look at this one. This actually, he was interviewed in the this is Chris Seaman, and he does a lot of D&D and a lot of Magic art, and this is the Grim Reaper from Pathfinder First Edition. It's my favorite piece, and I have the original, and you can see all the pencil marks and everything.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. It's amazing. I mean,
these are actually very inexpensive. Like this was like $300.
I know. It's just it all depends at the time, at the place. I mean, I'm a big Wayne Reynolds fan.
Wayne Reynolds is super expensive, and he does not negotiate, as I found out the hard way.
so Aaron from our show, William Brandis, in the chat, he commissioned Wayne Reynolds to draw his favorite character of all time.
Wow.
And Wayne did it.
Wow.
I for a very
which is I'm saying wow is I literally have 40 artists on my I'm like, my god, wow, that's so amazing. As I literally have thousands of pieces of art that I literally get a piece of art almost every single day.
Right. But I mean, and that's fine, and that's cool, it's fun, but like to be a fan first. And then to be able to get that artist to not only to be able to buy a piece from them, but to be able to have them do a custom piece for you.
It's cool.
Not in a business sense, but as a fan,
I do that too. I do that too.
It's pretty awesome.
Tiger Eyes, am I talking about color? Are you talking about the old black and white art of the original first? They did both. These were the guys. They did everything. They literally started at the beginning of TSR, and then what they did is they mostly show all the. It's great. Like they show about how they came up with the style for Dark Suns. They showed up how they came up with some of the most iconic covers for Dragon magazine. Like pretty much all those elements, all these, you're gonna see all these paintings, and you'll be like, I know every one of them, and they tell the story behind how they came to be. It's really a good documentary. It's not perfect, but it is fascinating, and it's good also as a slice of history, because that is definitely going to get lost, because these guys are getting older and they're not kids anymore. They're all in their 60s and 70s, and some of them have already died. So you got to get this information now before it's lost forever. So
Iron Chestnut says, what's more impressive is Wayne Reynolds says on his website he does not take private commissions like that. You are correct. He was at Gen Con.
If you see him at Gen Con, he's
and my friend basically went up to him in person.
Enough money, he'll do anything.
Right. He went up to him in person and said, hey, can we do that? The name of the documentary is called Eye of the Beholder,
I'll show it
The Art of Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. But it's a very interesting.
No one has seen this. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have the grade. It's like, it's
rated 4.5, but only.
I was looking at the different one. I was looking at the, there's a movie called Eye of the Beholder. Here we go. I'll link to it. It's,
yeah, I mean, obviously people like Errol Otis and stuff are dead, I think. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But you know what? I have the person who does the inside art for my books. I get a lot of the same guys from Goodman Games because I love the old school style of the black and white. And I have like Stefan Prong. He does all my inside art work.
Like, I'm not gonna lie and tell you that all of the old art is like incredible, amazing art.
Look at that. But
like
that's
what
the
he
inside
showed
of my book. Look at that.
But
thing.
like
look at that. It's so cool.
That and again, it's probably just an age thing. It's a generational thing. But like that to me is D&D. I just it's what resonates, with me.
That's why I put it in my book, because I wanted to. I did, like, this is the special edition, but
someone's saying Errol Otis is alive.
Errol Otis is alive. One of the other ones, I forget who else is. Actually, Otis is still alive because he just did stuff for Goodman. There's a couple of those. One of them is dead.
Yeah,
but like I have both the new, like you have the new, and then I married the old. And then on the sidebars,
Trampier died. That's who died.
And then on the old, and then you can see I have like so I put the old style here with the new style. I sort of mixed it up, and I did that on purpose. And people like us and the Grognars are like, "Oh, that's so cool! You did both." And I'm like, "Yeah, I tried to give an homage to the old style as well as the new."
And again, I love the sketchiness, and I mean, like even like the old, like the AD&D second edition monster manual and the Planescape stuff from D. Terralizzi is like, it's so evocative, and it's not clean. It's kind of sketchy, and I think he used colored pencils, I think, and it's just like it just feels so awesome, and I just love it.
Yeah. Anyways. So I did the link there.
I've always been a big fan of art in these games, and I think that they just they really sell.
There's actually a huge number. A whole bunch of these D&D documentaries came out, and it's so funny. And no one talks about them. And then I was just on a plane, and I was just like, all right, I was in the mood to like pay attention, so I started it. I was like, wow, this is really good. And there's a lot more of them. There's some on Netflix, there's some on Amazon. If anyone has seen any of the others and recommends them, let me know, because it's like, it's a very fine line between interesting and cringe, I'll say, and of these documentaries. But Eye of the Beholder was very good, very good. It was not cringe at all. But it is, I will say, they do talk about how, they did this too. So they would throw out all the artwork and just throw it out. Back in the comics days, now, of course, you can get, like, if you want to buy a Batman, poster board,
sure.
There's like $5,000, each. Yeah. They threw all those out, and I have tons of them in my attic because the Marvel just threw them out. They could not have cared less back in the 90s and 80s. They're just like, chuck them. They didn't think about them as anything, and they couldn't really reuse them because once they're down, they're down. So they throw them all out, and now it's like, they sell everything. It's like, here's the pencil that was used to make it's like, that's sold.
You might say that the comics and the art were under monetized, Stephen.
They were under monetized. I'll tell you what else is under monetized: professional sports. Because, hey man, if you want to get the cleats that was worn by Pete Alonso, you too can get the cleats from game number 93 of the Mets versus the Marlins on a Tuesday night for a mere $2,500. They sell everything now. It is ridiculous. It's like, they sell the lineup cards, they sell the bases, their cleats, the bats, the resin bags. It's like, oh my God, I get it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, and again, but you're for the fan who's buying it, they feel like they got a treasure,
Well, where I live, Steiner Sports, I'm sure maybe you've heard of them. Steiner is the one who basically invented the entire collectible market. Okay. He lives right by me, and his house is so big. He's really big into basketball. He has a basketball court, a big one, in his house, and he hosts games every single day at his house. And they're both pickup games that a lot of high school. He does it for the community. They're like, oh no, it's actually a lot of the high schoolers go, and he brings a lot of the kids there. So like my son and their friends, they go and they can play, and because anyone can go. It's like it's very open. And he has this phone. It's really funny. You sit down because he's like in the basketball court, and it lists like all the rooms, and one of the rooms is called the ice cream room. I'm like, this house is way too big if you have an ice cream room. Anyhow, that's my diatribe.
No.
It has nothing to do with D&D, but
Bo and family says Errol Otis is indeed alive and well. Just saw him and David LaForce at Gary Con 15.
I want to go to Gary Con.
I was thinking David Trampier, who I was thinking of.
They talk about him in the documentary quite a bit. They have his son is being interviewed.
I have never made the journey out to Gary Con.
I've never been to Gary Con. Well, it doesn't get a lot of press, but this year it seemed to get a lot more for some reason.
Well, I know that there were some celebrities there this year.
Yeah.
I think Vince Vaughn was there.
And I did not go to PAX East, which actually seemed to get. I was going to go.
I've never been to a PAX.
This is what happened. I had my hotel, and then I tried to get the press pass, and they denied me. How dare they? I couldn't believe it. They never deny me.
You weren't going to go as just an ordinary civilian?
It's like $300 for the damn ticket. It was ridiculous. So I was
Mr. Moneybags over there with your original art.
Shut up. Anyhow, the point is, hey, you think I got rich by writing checks?
All right, fair enough.
Anyhow,
remember to click and subscribe. And
I'm not that man. You know what? I just had to send out a big wire transfer to China for the freaking plushies, and it was not cheap, even though it's relatively cheap. But it adds up quickly. Well, it's relatively, because then the freaking shipping. The shipping was a third of the cost. I was like, damn it, man. It's expensive. But what was I saying? Oh, anyhow, at the very last second, I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And it was like Wednesday. And I really should have paid attention because they were sold out of tickets. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm not going. And I never went. So, whoops. Oh, well.
Yeah. Anyways.
I did not go. But I am going to Gen Con. That I go to. And I would have gone to PaizoCon if it wasn't for the freaking... Well, here's the thing. I need you... Derik, will you be my guide if I go to Origins this year? Will you show me around and help me out?
Because Origins is like an eighth of the size of Gen Con. Okay?
No, but you still got to show me all the sites and where to eat. Dude, you got to show me all the places, the fun things to do in Ohio, and actually, all my friends will be there. John Satz will be there. Bob Marquis will be there.
Steven, if you come, I'd be happy. In fact, two things. One, I'd be happy to have you. I'd show you around. Two, when we were there last time, we were able to sit down with a bunch of our patrons, supporters of the channel, and who are members of the Nice Last Call Patron, and we were able to do some podcasts with our patrons.
I watched it. I watched all your podcasts.
Yeah,
it sounded so good. I couldn't believe how good your sound was.
Because I take care of business.
I saw your soundboard. I'm like, holy crap! He's got like a professional studio set up there.
Yeah, I don't, and we also did record it for our patrons. In fact, actually, normal people did not get access to that. That was a patron only.
We call them the normies. Them normie people, they don't get that.
Right.
So do like and subscribe.
They got the audio, but if you wanted to see the video of the patrons, hanging out. But yes, I did basically bring a professional broadcasting studio with me to Columbus.
But, how far away is Columbus from Cleveland? 2 hours?
2.5, but 2 if you're speeding. But it's more like 2.5.
Cleveland. You know what I do every time I go?
What's that?
I got to see who's playing baseball. Got to see them. Got to see when
Columbus doesn't have a baseball team.
Right, I'm talking about the Guardians.
Oh, okay.
When is it? When's the Origins?
When is Origins? Yeah. June 21st is the Wednesday. I don't know what that goes through Sunday. Probably like the 24th, the 25th.
Guess what? June 20th. The Athletics versus the Guardians.
At home?
Yeah.
Well, that's a Thursday. So
yeah.
I'll be. So depending if you drive it.
Yeah, I would fly in and drive. I would fly in, go there, and then drive to.
Listen, I'm a big fan of. I don't know if you've been to Progressive Field, but it's a fantastic.
I've been there.
I mean, there's not a bad seat and spot. It's small,
and the food was good. I went there a couple years ago. I loved it. I had a great time, and I was on the scoreboard.
Great. Yeah, because they built it right during that era of where they were kind of downsizing the stadiums. And then of course, like Cleveland went on the heater of all time and they like sold out for like 8 straight years, and they were probably sitting there just going, why didn't we put 20,000 more seats in? But I love it.
Bueno Kitty said, wait, what? Steven, did I hear right? Are you making plushies for your Battles of Bistries? If not, you need to have a catalog of artist renditions. Your monster. Yeah, dude, they're the Eldamon. Go to the Kickstarter. I got pages of all of them. Yeah, they're right here. Hello. Look at this. Hello. I got tons of these plushies that Derik loves. Derik is like begging me. Hello. They got little cards. I had to do the whole thing, Derik. I'm like a real pro. Had to get the little tag on it and this little card with information. Screw you. I hate you so much. I'm banning you for life for that. What the hell was that for? Why would I get the sad trombone? What did I do to deserve that?
Because you're mocking me and my hatred for plushies.
Oh, well.
Listen, I think
my mom loves them.
Now, here's one of those things, right? You know, I people say this all the time on the internet. It's not always true, but it's true. Just let people like things. I'm okay with people liking plushies. I think they should be made. I think that the people that want to buy them should buy them. I think the people who want to enjoy them should enjoy them. They're just not for me. And I also, the only thing I will say that I feel is a little disingenuous is somebody in chat was saying that like that baby owlbear or whatever that's coming out from GameStop is going to be like $70. And if I'm just saying, if you're willing to spend $70 on a stupid owlbear thing for your shelf, which does nothing, then don't complain when a hardback core rule book that's over 400, 500 pages it costs $80 or $90. So like, you know, that's all I'm saying. Anyways.
There you can see the plushies. I gave you the link. You can click right there. It's a bag of plushies. They literally ship them in a bag.
Dominicus says they need adoption certificates so that you can maximize the cuteness.
They do.
They do not.
Yes, they do.
They have adoption certificates.
Take a look at the picture. It says right here, each Eldamon plushie comes along with a tag detailing its lore and history. It literally has everything about it. Deep troll. When we troll here, we troll deep and long.
I'm defeated. You all win. Congratulations. I'm the loser. You all are the winners. Steven is just laughing all the way to the bank, and you guys are just with your big handfuls of plushies and just enjoying your whole life, while I, a sad, miserable, lonely bachelor of a man, will continue to live in my palace of shame and sadness. Girlfriend. No.
Oh, that's even sadder. You have a dog.
I have 2 dogs.
You have 2 dogs. I got 2 dogs too. What are your dogs' names?
Zeus.
Oh, I got Zoe
and Maple
and Ruby.
All right,
Zoe and Ruby. Every one of my dogs. I've had something like 12 dogs in my life. They all end in Y or IE. They're all in. I had a German Shepherd for a while with like an ex girlfriend, but she got it in the split up. But it was a female German Shepherd named Zoe, but it was named after the character from Firefly. Yeah, I have Zoe, Ruby, Snoopy, Taffy, Cookie, Bitsy.
You're a fountainhead of creativity, Steven.
Those are my parents' dogs. Okay, I didn't come up with any of those names. I did come up with Taffy. I did come up with Zoe. I did come up with Ruby. I also named both of my kids. I seem to be the name person. I do come up with all the names.
I don't have any. Yes, people in the chat. I don't have any room for plushies. I need more books. I need to rethink because I want to move ideally in the next year or so. So that's why I haven't done it. But like I'm a woodworker, by the way, and like it's embarrassing because I'm like I should just have custom shelves for my D&D collection. Aesthetic. I just haven't built it because
Aesthetic.
I want to sell my house and move. So I haven't done it yet. But I'm running out of shelf space.
Welcome to my world. I ran out of shelf space a long time
my
ago.
own Patreon has gotten me to spend a record amount of money on RPGs because they are such a creative and interesting bunch of people that they go out and they play and they try new games.
Because you're bad at business.
I get exposed to the games and I go, that does look pretty cool. And then I go out and buy the game and I got the premium version or whatever like this. I have kickstarted more stuff.
Every single thing. Oh,
no,
I always have to buy everything because I am an academic. I heard you say it. Addict. I heard the A word.
I said academic.
Addict. An academic addict.
So, anyways, long story short, I need more shelf space.
Bueno Kitty for $11 says Derik might have said we won, but he's only half right. We all won with more monster plushies in our lives. Amazing stream, good talk. Later, everyone. Oh, we got a little cheering section for that one. You might say you won, but we're all. But you're only half right.
We're all winners.
We all won.
Anyways,
I will say there is a couple of scenes in the D&D movie that will be part of your games going forward. I will say that. I can't give it because it's a spoiler, but it's really funny. It's really funny.
Look, our journey together, Steven, started with me making fun of Roll for Combat.
You're like, stupid name.
And now when we play D20, what do we say?
Roll for combat. And the funny thing is, you know what? And yesterday, when they did the in the VTT, and they said roll for initiative, I'm like, if they said roll for combat, I would have just stood up and done I would have been walking around the block winner dinner.
Of course they weren't going to say that, but for some reason I was thinking the same thing.
They might have even said it like, you can't have that in there. You got to cut that.
Right. Oh, that thing went through a lot of corporate hands for sure. But
can you imagine if they actually said roll for combat instead of roll for initiative? I would have loved that.
That'd have been amazing.
I would have been. I would have just had that on my clip.
Nobody would say that because it's stupid, but it's what we say now. So
it's so much better. Everyone does it. I listen to a lot of these actual plays. None of them say roll for initiative. That's all I'm going to say.
Look, we say it. We say it. We started off saying it, obviously, ironically, and now we just say it because it's what we say. But anyways.
I know. I listened to you. They're like, oh, is it time to roll for combat?
Is it roll for combat yet?
It comes off your tongue faster. And roll for initiative is not as smooth as roll for combat.
That being said, if you want to go check out our video, How to Speed Up Your Game, you'll see me rant for 15 minutes about why I think initiative is horrible and pointless and slows down the game entirely and serves no real purpose in modern F20 games. Check us out. Night's the last call.
Or not.
Please. We have too many people.
You know what? If I come visit you, I'm going to bring plushies. I'm going to bring as many cute things as possible.
Please do.
Oh. So we can't go on forever, but here's the thing that I'm gonna finish with this thought.
I got a racquetball game.
Oh God, I can't. That's why I tore my knee the second time was racquetball.
Oh, I tore my shoulder real bad.
I tore my shoulder too, but that was not from racquetball.
And I had to have surgery to repair my labrum. But
so did I. Hey, we had the same injury. Which shoulder?
Right shoulder.
Mine's the left.
Oh, okay.
So together we make a single person.
Together we have a single person.
Like the Biotic Men. They could rebuild us, make us stronger. I did the exact same thing, labrum. And the thing is, the doctor was like, oh yeah, this is really common. I was like, really? And it's like, it happens so frequently. But they're like, oh, you have two muscles there. You don't need that one. I'm like, yeah, well, it still hurts.
Yeah. No, for me, it was about performance. And I was like, I'm willing to take the surgery. So actually, I have a surgery next Thursday.
What?
I'm getting a cyst removed from my foot.
Oh my God, just do what I do. Just rip it off.
I thought about that, but then I thought, you know what? I live in the West and I have access to Western medicine and I have insurance and I'll just let them do it.
I love just taking sharp objects to my body and just tearing things out. Because I'm insane.
Not normal.
Not normal. I never said I was. Okay, here we go.
Anyways.
Are you looking forward to the day when you're going to be playing on the D&D VTT and someone says, hey, let's quickly play a game of Magic, and they pull out their Magic deck and you're now playing Magic the Gathering inside the D&D VTT because it's coming?
It's funny that you mentioned that
because
just the other day, yesterday, we were talking. I don't play video games, but but William Brandis does, and he was talking about Final Fantasy 14 online, which he plays, and he was talking about logging onto it, but not to play Final Fantasy 14. He was talking about logging onto Final Fantasy 14 so that he could play Triple Triad, which is a card game that exists within Final Fantasy 14.
Correct.
So that would be really super meta, and it would be very strange. But at least then, I would be playing a good game.
Oh, wow! that was a deep cut. Pretty good. You want to take this?
Oh yeah. Ashan Darai says, playing catch up. I wanted to say, I've got Wayne Reynolds to do my cover art for Heroes of the Jade Oath. It's on my wall. That is sick.
That is sick. Yeah, he'll do work if he's free. I remember I saw a picture of his.
I mean, yeah, he's got to make money somehow, right?
And it was for $600 for it was a very small piece. And I buy art and I was like, that's more of a $300 piece. So I said, I'll tell you what, give you a $300. He's like, nope.
Like, I love that.
And I'm like, no one's going to buy this art.
Ash, I just took a look at that art and that is sweet. I love the picture of that sort of Ronin samurai kind of warrior in the graveyard. That's pretty sweet.
And then I was like, dude, no one's gonna buy this. And then he's like, no, I don't lower my price. I'm like, okay. I would say 400. He's like, nope. I go back a year later, it's still there. And I'm like, give you 400. He's like, nope. I'm like, okay. Every year I go back and it's still there. I'm like, one day maybe he'll sell it. It's still 600. I'm like, man, he will never lower that price. So
that's pretty sweet.
I know, but a lot of these people will. I will tell you a secret that I talked about yesterday. For those of you who stuck around to the very end. Are you ready? You ready for the secret?
Sure, I didn't stick around to the very end. Oh, you mean of this stream?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Is that so World of Warcraft originally had Hearthstone in the game.
Oh, interesting.
In fact, when I was playtesting the pre-alpha back in 2002, you know all those cards that are inside World of Warcraft, and you're wondering what the hell those cards are for?
I'm not familiar with those, but I'll trust.
Okay, there's a lot of cards in World of Warcraft and just collectible. They originally were going to be playing cards, and they were going to put Hearthstone in World of Warcraft, and they were trying to work it out, but they couldn't get it done in time for the launch, so they never managed to get it. But they were going to put a card game within an MMO, and then you were going to have to collect the cards and sub-sort. And that's what those cards are for. If you look at the art, you'll see this card art. It really doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just cards in World of Warcraft. There's no point to them. That's they were left over from. And then eventually they did make Hearthstone as a standalone game, but originally they did plan on putting a card game because they played they're huge Magic players. They used to have Magic all the time at
of course
Blizzard.
everyone was.
Yeah, and they were really, really big Magic players. So they loved it and they wanted to do a Magic type game, which is actually where Hearthstone came from. And eventually it went the other way. Actually, I can tell the whole story of Hearthstone, but I won't get into it. Actually, it was like John Statz, who's on my stream, his workout buddy was the lead designer of Hearthstone. So he has a million stories about the Hearthstone and how it's created. So that's pretty interesting. Anyhow.
Anyways. All right. That's it. That's all I got.
Oh, EverQuest 2 did the same thing with the EverQuest Legends card game. Yeah, there's a lot of people who do that. But I'm just waiting. It's like they had a standalone game before Hearthstone. Physical cards. I actually have a box. I have a case, Aaron, of those physical cards in my garage.
Yeah, everybody wanted the Spectral Tiger mount.
That's right. You literally just took the words out of my mouth. I have cases. I have 6 cases in my garage, and every so often I look at them as they freaking taking up space, and I'm thinking I should just go through them and find the goddamn Spectral Tiger and just sell that. Yep. I bet you I could find it. It's got to be in one of those.
At least, I mean, they were pretty rare, but they weren't like hyper rare.
Yeah. No, I had that. I have the physical game.
I never got into that one.
It wasn't that good. I bought it. We were all thought, oh my God, it's going to be so big. And all my friends were at Blizzard and I was talking to them like, oh yeah. So we all bought like 6, 8, 10 cases and I never opened. They're still sealed. They still have this totally unopened. I was like, it's so sad. They're all just sitting in my garage. But one day You know what I should do? Those are the things I heard people, what they do, they bring all that stuff to Gen Con and then they sell it at the auction and make good money. So
they can if you find the right buyer. But the Gen Con auction is actually fun. I usually stop in there once or twice just to see what's going on.
I usually do, but I'm so busy. It's like Gen Con is one of those, if I cloned myself 1,000 times and I still wouldn't even see everything. It's just, you just don't have time for everything.
You don't. You really don't.
And that's like, that's a big time sink, is that auction.
It is. I was actually at the auction where they auctioned off Gary Gygax's personal effects.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jim Ward did it, and he got really emotional, and he was saying it's like, it's a horrible thing to have to auction off your friends' things, and
it's a horrible thing. That being said, $500 going once, going twice, sold.
But it was bittersweet for sure. But it was again, there's just so many cool, unique moments that you can only get at Gen Con, because you're there in person, unlike the D&D virtual tabletop.
Well, they are coming back and they are showing up. You know what? I just got a mail today. I was going to say right before the stream from WoTC, because they're going to be at Gamma. That's the trade show for people in the industry, and also like the physical stores. And WoTC has a physical booth there, and they're advertising to come see and talk to them. And I'm going to be I'm going to be talking to you. Let's see who's going to be at this booth, baby. Like, there's nowhere to hide when I show up. I'll be like, hey. Oh, I was seeing if I can get into the summit. There was like a 10% chance I had a way to sneak in to the digital summit on Monday, believe it or not. So doesn't look like it's going to happen, but can you imagine?
I mean, no, because I would never get invited, but that's fine.
I've been invited to the video game ones many times.
Wait, you're much more important than I am.
Well, the video game ones were different back then. This is talking a long time ago. I told you I got yelled at because I didn't do the job right. I didn't hype the game enough, and they yelled at me. And then that's EA. And then they invited me right back.
Right. We talked about that with the boondoggles going on.
Yeah. They just, right. It's interesting. What I don't understand is like they invited some people. Like one of them, they invited the person has like I couldn't even find any social media presence of them whatsoever. And they were invited. I was like, how do you even find these people? Some of them,
they must have hustled.
They must have. I don't know. We're friends of friends or they asked, but Ian World was invited, and Ian World is pretty tough. So I'll be very curious to hear what they have to say.
Yes, they are.
So we'll see. But all right. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything silly to do. So instead I just told stories.
Oh, well. Good.
I can try Kermit the Frog. Let's see. Can I do Kermit? I can't do voices. Kermit the Frog here. See, that's not Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog here.
Kermit the Frog here.
Yeah, you got to do it like that.
Kermit the Frog.
The key
live.
The key.
Yes.
The key is you just got to, every time you're driving in a car, you just got to sing along to songs and just make your voice do weird things.
I can do weird voices, but none of them I think are that weird.
Oh,
I do have if you watch me and Jason McDonald do you know I was a professional movie reviewer for 5 years? I have a freaking weird background.
At this point, Steven, you could tell me that you were an ex-MI6 spy and that you did high-level assassinations all over the world. And I'd be like, yeah, probably.
But it's true. I even have the bylines. I actually did. And I brought Jason up because he did it with me. It was in college. And we used to do it. I was the editor of the school newspaper for 2 years of the entertainment section. And that's how I started, because I love movies. And I'm like, I can see movies for free and review them for the school paper? Where do I sign up? And back then in the 80s, they treated us just like they treated everyone else. And it was really cool. But I don't remember the point of the story. But
perfect.
No. Then we came up with movie reviews with Chet, and I forgot who it was, but we were like 70s cokeheads, movie executives, and we did most of the review in our cokehead 70s voice, and people loved it. So I could do my 70s cokehead voice of a movie exec. It's like, hey, yeah, so what we could do is, we just make that D&D movie, and you know what we do? Yeah, we just put a dragon in the movie, but we don't put a regular dragon, we put a really big fat dragon, fat dragon. We just call it the pudgy dragon, and the dragon can't really get through, and they make jokes about how fat he is and how he ate the other dragons, and and then would have them like chase around and do all this silly stuff, and the dragon can't really fly very well because it's all fat and silly. Yeah. Hey, give me a little line of that Coke. Oh yeah, okay. So then after we got the fat dragon, we're gonna have to go to the. Yeah, anyhow, I don't want to give away too many spoilers.
Okay, number one, that's the story itself about the movie. Very sad. Number two, I was like, okay, I'm going with this and going with this. The bump of Coke definitely took the impersonation from a solid C to a nice definite A. That was definitely the moment of it. So it says Alex Jones. Yeah, it's got an Alex Jones.
Well, because that's what they did. They're like, because it's like, so because back then, oh my God, if you want to lose your brains and blow out your mind, watch 70s TV. Watch Three's Company. The highest rated show in America for a long time. If you can get past one episode, I mean one.
I've seen Three's Company.
Now.
Oh, probably not. No.
I'm not talking about. I was in Florida with my parents, and they had Me TV on, which shows everything from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And Fantasy Island was on, which was my favorite. I used to watch.
Look, boss, the plane.
The plane. I used to watch on Saturday night growing up. You had The Love Boat. You had Chips. No, sorry, it was Chips, Love Boat, Fantasy Island from 8 to 11 every weekend.
Love Boat.
The Love Boat. Oh my God. I loved Fantasy Island. I watched this. It was so sexist, disgusting, grotesque, stupid, insulting. I couldn't even believe this existed. I was like, wow, is this bad? This show is so bad. It was like unwatchable. This thing was a huge hit.
The wheels are totally off the bus at this point. We're talking about 70s television shows.
Hey man, because I did chat. I did chat. Hey, I had this idea. Yeah, we
nothing
got
like ending strong.
Fantasy Island where people can go and they get all their fantasies. But you know, it's the 70s and we can't really show. So we're just going to insinuate lots and lots of sex and drugs and drinking. Yeah, and no one's wearing any underwear, especially the women. No. It's all insinuated, and there's all this innuendo, and there's all this like double speak. But it's, we got to get around the censors because it's the 70s. You watch it. I mean, think about Three's Company. All right, we got this guy, and he's living with two women. But you know what? He's not allowed to because,
I don't want to watch Three's Company. I'd rather go play the new D&D VTT than watch Three's Company, okay? Or watch Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island's really bad. But the thing is, Fantasy Island was still the best of them because then you watch The Love Boat, and you will jump off a tall tower. You'll be like, okay, I'm officially, this is what they play in hell.
Nice.
Oh yeah, the entire premise of Three's Company would get producers canceled, and I'll do my Three's Company voice. Then we can go. Yeah, so we have this idea. It's like we got this guy, and he can't afford the rent, so he has to live in an apartment, but with two other women. But of course, the landlord is like, no, you can't do that. You can't have like men and women living together out of marriage, out of wedlock. So he'll just pretend he's gay, and that's it. He's just gay, and that way it's okay. Now he can live with these two hot women, and they're always like running around with no bras on at any time or any point, and they're wearing really hot pants, and he's completely straight. But everyone pretends he's gay because the landlord is always in the apartment, as landlords do, because that's what they like to do. Anyhow.
Come and knock on our door. We'll be waiting for you. Where the kisses are his and hers. Three's Company too.
William Branch is like, thanks, guys. I learned a lot about VTTs. I'm sure you did. Hey, so anyhow, let's do this VTT. I'm going to do this like VTT. And what we'll do is we'll have it do nothing. It'll have nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, it's just going to be called Dungeons and Dragons. And we'll have dragons in there. We'll have dungeons. But we're just going to make some shit up. And we'll just have fantasy pictures and graphics and monsters and flame, and we'll call them magic effects. And look at that. Oh, he cast magic missile. Did you see that? It came out of his finger and everything. Oh my God. These kids are going to eat this crap up. And we're going to charge out the fucking wazoo for every single little thing. Those stupid, stupid people.
We sure are. All right. I got to run. So Carlos asked, how do we reach this point? God only knows. God only knows. You know what, Carlos? Talking about sad, depressing things for 2.5 hours. That's how we got there.
Hey, wait, Shadow asked, have I seen the pilot for Fantasy Island? It was very dark. Yes, I have. The original pilot is a very dark and evil show. And they changed it. That is correct. I do know that.
The last thing I do want to say is I do want to agree with Smeeky or Smeekai, who said that Suzanne Summers was mega hot, but she did reach peak hotness on Step by Step. That is correct. That's all I got. I got to run. I got to go play racquetball, and I enjoyed my time. Thank you, Steven, for having me on.
You enjoyed your time. We'll do this again. Mark said, "Good job." Good job, Derik.
Oh, look, we try to keep it. We try to keep it fun around here. But there's only so much we could say. But I mean, like, we appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out with us and learning from us. And obviously, it's awesome that everybody cares so much. I think we're all sort of nervously waited with bated breath to see what this does and what this does for our industry and hobby. Because regardless of whether you play D&D or you've forswore WoTC and all things Dungeons and Dragons, it's the 8,000-pound gorilla in the room, and it makes the biggest waves. And how that ecosystem changes and develops is going to impact us no matter what games we're playing, and it's going to shift in the tides of things like what your players are interested or what your game master wants to run next, and how the industry is perceived by the wider community. So it is important. Maybe it's not the most critical thing, but it is important. All right.
All right. Don't break your knee playing racquetball like I did.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Hello, goodbye.